Hi, and welcome to Fuzzy Guard. Today on the podcast, we have a good friend of mine and a great commentator, AceofSpuds. He's been working very hard, but just a quick trigger warning before we start, guys. There were a couple of heavy topics brought up by the way of mental health and stuff. So if you're not comfortable hearing stories about that sort of stuff, one of the other Fuzzy Guards is probably a better option for you here. But just a bit of an update, we are working on the Patreon. It is live now, but we're working on some exclusive content for that. But remember, click follow or subscribe or do all of those things. I'm not very good with the internet side of things. Enjoy the episode. But yeah, look, here we are, Fuzzy Guard, AceofSpuds. I have to tell the story straight off about how we met, right? Straight off about how we met, right? Because I went to Headstomper, and Headstomper was like the first major I'd ever been to, or like, you know, kind of big event.
Yeah.
And
major. It's a major.
I had met jammers before. I think I met him at Celtic Throwdown or something, so I kind of had like a rapport going with jammers, right?
Right.
And I just saw jammers and I was like, hey Jams, what's going on, man, how are you, like, or whatever. And he just goes, Jesus, you Irish commentators are everywhere right now. And I was like, I'll be honest, this comes purely out of narcissism, but I was like, there are no other Irish commentators. What are you talking about? And he was like, dude, AceofSpuds, he's the big guy with the beard. Like, you had like a beard back then, like it was like a big beard. I was like,
I was in Viking land, so it's like to hear, right? We're in Sweden, you gotta, well, in Sweden, do as the Swedes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, get one of those plaits all the way back and stuff.
Yeah, a little braid on the beard for next. Yeah, well, it's on this year, and I'm going, so maybe I can get the braid in time.
Oh, let's go. But I couldn't believe that there was another Irish commentator. Obviously, in my brain, in Tekken, that there's no other fighting game, and that's why Headstomper was on for Tekken. That's why the mix-up is on. It's for Tekken. Like, so when I heard of a Street Fighter commentator,
what are these fucking old school garbage 2D games? Get them out of here.
But yeah, I think I heard you talking to someone in a group, but obviously you pick an Irish accent out instantly. And I was like,
I think in particular I'm quite loud.
I mean, I think we're bred.
We're
bred to be commentators, like, you know, like, I mean,
yeah.
Like, there's never going to be a situation where I didn't hear AceofSpuds on that broadcast at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man, fun stuff. So, are you drinking this evening?
I am. It's a strange, bizarre mixture of orange juice, strawberry juice, and whiskey, because it's just what I had on hand that I thought would taste good. It's pretty
Let's go. I like that. I'm actually in the same vein. I have Cointreau, which is normally a cocktail ingredient. It's an orange liqueur, and I'm just mixing it with 7
It's the key ingredient in Old Fashioned, my favourite drink.
Yes, I mean,
There you go.
yep, absolutely the same.
I know a little bit. I don't know much about cocktails, but I know what's in the fucking one I like.
Wait, you like an old fashioned too? I like an old fashioned.
I know. It's like I don't drink, I don't drink much.
Right.
But when I do, I'll only have, a couple. So if I'm only having a couple, I might as well pay the 12 quid for the nice one that I like,
That's it, man. I respect that. That's cool, man. Yeah, I do. I had an old fashioned earlier on this evening. That's
nice.
That's actually like
Nice.
I met my lovely lady in town, and she was at some bar that she said, "Oh, the cocktails are really nice here." I said, "I'll be the judge."
I'll be the judge of that.
One of your finest old fashions, sir. And bring it to the table post haste. So, what's the story with you in esports right now? Because the last time we talked, which I'll be honest, wasn't as recent as I'd like it to be. It was a little bit away.
It was.
You were kind of getting geared up for Street Fighter 5. This was, I think it was pre-6 announcement, wasn't it? The last time we talked?
Yes. I think the last time we talked, when we went out for dinner.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, I was like, it's soon. It's got to be soon. 6 is soon. I was right, but it was pre-announcement. It was pre-announcement.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the plan? Any kind of goals? 23 is here. Everything is kind of geared up and stuff,
Well, for me, obviously, everything is kind of currently revolving around the release of Street Fighter 6 because it's my main game.
Sure.
Like in terms of like at a major level, I've done Blaze Blue, I've done Guilty Gear, I've done Dragon Ball. But the game that if you tell me here's 20 games, pick one, I'm always picking Street Fighter. It's my bread and butter,
Yeah.
So I'm not that I'm not doing anything, but a lot of what I'm doing is kind of dictated on seeing what Capcom and and the majors themselves are doing with regards to 6.
Right. Yeah.
So, for example, like I'm definitely we were meant to talk there I think before we started recording about, or no, we were just talking about Headstomper. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to that because that, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be post release of 6.
I have no idea on that.
I'm 90% sure it's like the week after. Whether they're going to be running it or not, I still not entirely sure. But I'll be. So for me, I guess I'm still doing. I'm still doing Street Fighter 5 stuff.
Nice.
Most recently, I did a series of the World Warrior events, the qualifications for Capcom Cup.
Nice.
For the EU ones that were run by Saltmine. So I did.
Sick.
So I did the very first UK and Ireland one, which was sick.
Nice.
However,
Cobblecog and
well, I mean, it was the ending Walker show. This 17-year-old that just annihilated people,
Yeah.
Even he got the. Did he? Yeah, he did get the top.
He was in top
16?
8 I thought he was top 8 at Evo.
I'm pretty sure it was top 8 loser side. He got as far as in Capcom Cup, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Sorry, yeah.
But yeah, so basically, I guess once the World Warrior season winded down, I did a couple of the Eastern European ones, a couple of the Central European, whatever. The thing is, right, because, the Saltmine T.O. Redis, lovely guy, he gave me so many great opportunities and help and advice when I was getting started. But he said, he told me, as it is, the UK and Ireland is probably the most stacked bracket. Lots of people want to commentate this one. And I was like, fair enough, let somebody else get each week, that makes total sense. So I would have done Ireland and England, UK first, and then maybe some of the different European sections, getting to see the talent from around there. Brilliant. But once that wrapped up, and then the next thing was Capcom Cup, I don't know how it is for, like, with Tekken, but definitely in kind of Street Fighter, you're not, like, there isn't really any major between the end of qualifications and the start of Capcom Cup.
Yeah. Fair.
It's probably the same for Tekken World Tour Finals, I imagine. Yeah. There's, like, maybe a 4 to 6 week buffer there, at least, where there's not really any majors. Yeah. So that's kind of where I was for the last couple of months. To be honest, I took it as an opportunity to step back from commentary for a little while until the new year.
Right.
Because, I probably started seriously 6 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
But at the time when I started with Saltmine, when I first started with Saltmine, which was actually their very first English broadcast.
No way.
Their first season was German only, and the very first English season, which would have been season 2, I think we're now on season 670 billion or something. 15, 17? So I would have started on season 2 with them. So what I was doing at that time was I was doing maybe like 4 p.m. to 8 to 10 p.m. every Sunday.
Wow.
So maybe 4 to 6 hours, depending on the length of the tournament, every Sunday. Yeah. I did that for a couple of seasons, and the reason I really wanted to commit to doing it every time was it was somewhat selfish. Obviously, it was definitely helpful for the TOs that they had some, people committed to doing it every week.
Of course.
But it just got so much experience under my belt.
Yeah.
And because as the tournament gained notoriety and became notoriety is the wrong word. It makes it sound evil. But, as it became more popular, and I don't know the statistics, but I'm pretty sure Saltmine has probably now at this stage become one of, if not the most popular Street Fighter tournaments. Like definitely in Europe.
Definitely online. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Online. I mean, yeah. So like the opportunity for me in a way, COVID gave me this, the whole, lockdown thing where everything shifted online, gave me this opportunity where, because players were forced to play online, the tournaments were going online. So within a couple of seasons, I was now commentating matches between, Problem X and Bolt Strike, between Hurricane and Ending Walker.
Yeah.
Because this was the best tournament available for people like that to play. Now, there'd be people like Problem X, Luffy, people who've won Capcom Cups, who've won Evos, would enter occasionally. But, but even then, what I actually saw was you know, there'd be players like Hurricane and Ending Walker are two examples I always think of, that if you charted where they were at as a player starting Salt Mine, it's just like a straight line up.
Right.
Like definitely Hurricane as well, but especially Ending Walker with him being so young. Like, I remember the first time commentating one of his matches, it was only like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago.
Right.
And it was like some, you know, young teenager who was like a super diamond Ed.
Right.
Fast forward 2.5 years of, you know, he's now top 8 Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
And so for me to be able to see the progress of, you know, players and people within that environment in the online sphere was brilliant.
Totally. I mean,
I think the last couple of years we've tried to get back to offline, and we're basically back to full offline now. I think would say. So I'm trying to, you know, now also transition from online to go back to prioritizing the offlines.
yeah.
So that's why I kind of took a step back, trying to figure out which ones I want to go to, planning, financing, all this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, it is a different, like, kettle of fish, because, I mean, like, you know, my setup for commentary is this. Like, you know, this is literally...
Me too.
You know,
I've noticed my command center's in the kitchen.
Yeah. I see your fridge back there. Let's go.
Yeah, that's my fridge. Some drawings from my siblings and shit on it, you know.
But yeah, and
they
then
come to visit. If the drawing isn't on the fridge, I'm in trouble. Now, they've never checked, but just in case, I know I would be in trouble if they visited, you know.
Dude, so this is a weird thing, right? About like being a personality online, that people that aren't in this sphere or whatever, like, it literally happened to me earlier on tonight. Like, my girlfriend was out with one of her friends, and I know her very well. We've known all these girls years, like, whatever. But I just said, I've got to go to work, like, you know. And she was like, what are you doing working at 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday? And I said, you know, it's a thing that I want to do, like, you know. And basically I explained to her. It can
be hard to
right?
explain.
And then she goes, oh, give me a shout out on the podcast. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like, when am I going to... I mean, to be fair, I have just done it there. Like, you know, like...
Well, you didn't name her or anything, so, you don't know.
Where's the natural segue into just talking about...
By the way, shout out to Stephanie from Tala.
Like, but it's just that thing about being a personality. Do you get that from your family and stuff? Like, you know, oh, you better put my drawing up in view of your webcam.
You know, to be totally honest, I do get it from my younger siblings.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if you're the same, but like, for me, like, my parents and my general family. So it might make more sense to have context. So I have 2 families, which I'm greedy, right?
Okay.
So my biological parents didn't stay together, and they each married somebody else. So I have a stepmother and a stepfather. And I have 5 siblings.
Damn.
But they range between the ages of 4 and 16.
Jesus.
So 2 of my sisters, one of them is a twin. Well, there's 2 of them because they're twins. That's idiotic. Yeah, but
of course.
One of the twins and her other sister, they're big into, like, one of them is. She might as well be. She thinks she's Ninja, you know, pro Fortnite player, pro Apex player, this kind of stuff. She loves it, and I, you know, obviously me being a big gamer as well, I always encourage it.
Of course.
So I think for them, they always try and catch me when I'm on stream, and I do try and give them a shout out. And you know, I think the novelty of family seeing me on TV for the first time was actually kind of what washed away any reservations that maybe, you know, family were like, okay, you know, this is a legitimate thing.
Yeah. This actually, like, leads absolutely perfectly. So every guest I've had on so far, I've asked the question about how do you explain what you do to your parents? Like,
well, so for me, it wasn't too hard, actually. So, for example, my father loves sports fanatic. Soccer, golf, bicycling,
yeah.
the Tour de France, snooker, pool, everything. So to him, the explanation of I'm, you know, I don't know, George Hook, but for Street Fighter, that was enough.
Is George Hook a football
grumpy
commentator.
old rugby commentator
Right.
who talks like this,
Right.
and he's just angry for the sake of being angry, you know. So for like my father and my stepmother, I think that was enough of a translation that they got it.
Yeah.
And then for my mother and my stepfather, a lot of my interest in gaming actually came from my stepfather, because he's not as much as anymore, you know, just with work, life, 3 more children. But like when I was a kid, I was at home one day and my stepdad just came home with, at the time, the original brand new Xbox and Halo, and we just sat down and played it, you know. So for them, it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because I think that side of my family had kind of understood the gaming part a lot more from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately now they've all kind of been like, okay, this is real. You know? I think one thing that really kind of swung it around, especially when you're explaining it, is when you explain it that the gaming industry is worth more than every other media industry combined.
Yeah.
So like movies, TV, music, everything combined makes less than the gaming industry and esports every year.
There's a weird statistic.
Ridiculous.
There's an absolutely freak statistic that the single most profitable piece of art that's ever been created by humans is Grand Theft Auto 5. Like how wild.
It is.
It's nuts. It's absolutely psycho to think that, like, you know, the Mona Lisa hasn't made as much money as Grand Theft Auto 5.
No, like, and it never will.
Never will.
It probably never will.
Never. There's no universe. Right?
Ridiculous.
Like,
man, you'd have to draw the sickest fucking painting ever to beat that.
To beat Grand Theft Auto 5, man.
Like
Yeah.
the first 3D interactive painting or something. I don't know, maybe.
But it's definitely gotten easier. I think even in the last, I like, so we probably have a weird view because we come from Ireland, and I think for anybody that doesn't know, Ireland has been like run by the GAA, which is the Gaelic Athletic Association, and there we have hurling, Gaelic football, and
that's it.
That's kind of it
on
the global stage.
Isn't
and
it?
stuff. So
I mean, obviously camogie and ladies football too.
No, of course.
Same sports,
yeah, so like, I mean, when you meet people out in a pub and they ask, what do you do? And I say, oh, I'm a commentator for esports. And they're like, oh, so like you're like a YouTuber. And it's like,
adjacent to that. You're in the right ballpark.
I get what you're saying, and I respect the comparison there. They're trying to add to this conversation, and it's like, but it is absolutely nothing to do with that. Like, I don't make videos like that. Like, you know, and relating it back to sports is definitely the easiest thing. But I have had the weirdest conversations, like just being out in pubs and stuff. And you know, everybody talks about their cousin, man. I don't. Like, you know, you say, I'm
everybody in Ireland has a cousin.
Who's a
famous YouTuber.
But dude, and then like they'll say something.
I mean, the country's small enough. Half of us might be related to what's his name, Jack Septic.
Jack Septic,
he's Irish, right?
He's from Waterford, I think.
Yeah.
But this thing of like, as soon as I say I'm in, like, associate with video games, and the way I pay my rent is through video games, like they say, oh. So I've got a cousin, right? And he plays 2 full hours a day after school. Do you think that's a little bit too much? And I'm like, if he's going to make a career out of it, you need to quadruple that amount. Like this, there is nothing, like 2 hours a day is leisure. Like you get leisure after his homework, and if he does 2 hours a day, great. I mean, you know.
But it's a really good point in that I think a failing of gaming celebrityism, or the phenomena that is being a celebrity via gaming or YouTube, it really doesn't impart the fact that it's like 1 in 10,000 people who try this are successful.
Yep.
It doesn't impart the fact that the best way to be successful was to try this 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
What I think, but I get asked this question as well, you know, like,
sure,
how much is too much for kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, they're a child. Everything they do should be for fun and enjoyment.
Fair.
So, I think 2 to 3 hours, you know, that's a fun, enjoyable time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're the kind of person who you're older, you have a job, you come home from your job, and you want to make something of a career in gaming, whatever, however it is, you have a second job. That's the way I look at it.
Fair.
So I don't ethically think it's actually okay for children to be content creators.
I do see your point. Absolutely, yeah.
It all kind of stems from that I think separate it for the kids, have it as play, and if they're an adult and want to pursue it, that's their own prerogative.
But
you know.
then, so there's that almost that hybrid thing that if we just like transition entirely to sports, what about like summer camps in football for kids? Like, obviously that's trying to breed the sort of professionalism in that sport. Like,
it is,
because
yeah.
You don't pay that much. I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't have a kid who loves soccer. But you know, like for me, that seems like you're pushing them into getting kind of bigger in the sport. Like, you know.
But you can. But there's a parallel with an esports and gaming, right? So, say for example, if you're worried that your child comes home from school and is playing games 8 hours a day, just doesn't even come out of the room for their chicken nuggies or anything, you know?
Damn.
There are now, whether it be online or in person, it's not as much in person in Ireland, but it's still online. There are, you know, gaming clubs, gaming camps, esports camps, these kind of things. Okay, we're going to cut down your gaming time because, like, look, I'll be totally honest. I binge at times when I shouldn't. I stay up till 4 or 5 a.m. without even realizing. I know it's unhealthy, you know?
Yeah.
So what my thing would be, you know, especially if it's a child and you're worried that they're playing too much, try and trim the hours back, but make it a bargain. If you can stick to this, then in the summer, yeah, no problem, we'll bring you down to UCC or UCD where they're doing this esports thing.
Fair.
You know? If you can cut your hours down and, you know, be responsible about your habits, we'll bring you to a major, we'll bring you to a convention. The thing is, I think a lot of parents who don't get gaming don't know where to go to find the stuff or are reluctant to. But again, it's the sporting parallel. If your child was obsessed with soccer and all they did after school was play soccer, you'd be like, okay, you need to stop going to the pitch for 8 hours after soccer. You can go there for 2 hours after school, but you need to come home and do your other stuff.
Yeah,
if you can stick to this, we'll take you to an Ireland soccer match in the summer, or we'll take you to a Man United match.
Fair. Yeah.
There's a parallel there. And I think it's just down to, you know, doing it's bizarre in that. So again, to look at sport, even if you have no interest in sport, everybody knows something about the mechanics of sport.
Sure, fair.
My girlfriend couldn't be less interested in sport, and that's totally cool because we have loads of other things in common. But for Valentine's Day, she brought me to the under-20 Six Nations rugby match that was in Cork, so Ireland versus France for the under-20s. I had a fantastic time. She was surprised that there was fireworks, music, a band, how many people there were, that there was stands, the procession. Everything was new and bizarre to her. But she still knew that 2 teams from these countries would go to this particular stadium and play. But even that base knowledge isn't there for people who are outside of gaming. Sure. And I think that's what creates the problem of not understanding whether your child's habits are good or bad.
But, I mean, it's so... Esports is like, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I completely agree with you. Like, I think, like... that what we need is a huge marketing push industry wide, like to kind of push into the mainstream and stuff. But you can look up on YouTube the very first esports event. It was a Quake tournament, like
you can,
like you can find that on YouTube, like you know, which like you know you can't say that for any other like sports or do you know, like, I mean, the Olympics, dude, like, I mean, that's what we're directly competing with, like, you know? So, I mean, I understand the confusion at kind of one side of me. The other side is, like, just, I mean, it's worth so much money now, like, you know, like, I mean, do you see all the Red Bull fridges around and the headsets that are being just given out to players, the fight sticks,
hundreds and thousands, and
of course, like you know, like I mean, obviously, look, I mean, if we were both in accountancy, we'd probably say the same thing about how do people
pencils and tires and whatever the company's using, you know.
So I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm really really happy where I am in the industry that I can still operate as a normal human. And then go and do this weird thing on the weekends, almost like, you know, and have these conversations with mothers, concerned mothers about their teenage nephew or whatever. Like,
But I do think it is a legitimate concern based off the fact that like it's the information, like you said, the information is readily available if you know where to look. Go on YouTube and look, go on Google, whatever. But but you got like it's an older generation you're dealing with a lot of the time here as well. People who get a vast amount of their information from things like radio and television. Like,
okay.
I don't know about you, but most people in Ireland I know over the age of 50, that's where they get most of their news.
Fair.
They still listen to the Sky TV guide to see what's on. They have Netflix, but they only use it if there's a certain movie they want. Do you know?
Yeah.
So I think almost like public service information style. Like, okay, so I think it's Belgium that brought in a thing where like they had really strict laws on having loot boxes in games because they determined that it was akin to gambling.
Yeah.
And psychologically, it's proven that it is. So I think things like that, government initiatives, like, hey, look, we've done a little, there's the research on gaming. It's not dangerous. In fact, it makes you smarter, faster. It actually improves so many qualities, hand-eye coordination.
Decision
but like
making,
anything, all in good measure. But that information just isn't there. So I think a lot of confused parents think it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
But moderation is the answer for everything.
Damn, I never thought about it like that. That, obviously if you're looking at it from the outside in, you see these people and obviously we're telling stories about 8 hours a day and that sort of stuff, but that's to become the best in the world. That it doesn't start that you look at a game and say, oh, I like this game 8 hours a day. It's almost like this gradual sort of curve up.
I think, but it's like anything, right? Okay, the way I always think of it is one thing that always separated like Japanese Street Fighter players, and the one that comes to mind is Tokido, right? The Demon Eyes. We all love a bit of Tokido.
Sure.
His physical preparation is next level. He has a diet, a health regime. He goes to the gym, everything. If the next time you see Tokido, look how swole he is, right? And his philosophy is that mental and physical ability are not different. They're the same thing. Your body is one mechanism. So to be at your peak mental, so gaming performance, you need to be at peak physical performance, and that has been proven like by research and studies.
Sure.
So the point I'm getting at is, ask Roy Keane or I don't know, Diego Maradona or whatever, a famous mega Ronaldo, super mega, ultra celebrity sports star, like world level athlete. I absolutely guarantee you they've never stayed up training till 4 a.m. But it is something that a gamer will do. You have to recognize when your effort is being wasted, because that's wasted effort if what you want to do is improve. If what you want to do is stay up till 4 o'clock playing a strategy game, do that. But if your goal is to improve, or your goal is to get into an industry based on gaming, you need to treat it like you treat any other kind of, it needs to be, I would still say it's a hobby, but frame it like it's a skill you're developing,
Dude, that's so deep. I never thought about it like that. Like, you literally don't see people in the gym till 4 a.m. Like, bodybuilders.
Because
like,
it's pointless.
Shit.
It's pointless. It just, you're so much better off being like, look, it's 11 o'clock, I've been playing since 7, that's 4 hours, right? I really, really want to get this I really want to get this wall set up for the next tournament because nobody knows this cheeky king wall setup I'm working on, or something.
Yeah.
If you go to sleep and wake up in 8 hours, A, you'll be refreshed, B, you'll be up earlier so it's easier to get going in the day so you'll actually get more hours out of the day. And the most important thing that I've ever learned about learning is that the quote, sleep on it, isn't made up. It is fucking real. Your brain processes information like infinitely faster while you're asleep. So if you have that set up and your ideas forward in your head and you go to sleep, your brain will replay it for you and fast forward. You wake up, eureka. Try it. It works.
Damn,
does it work?
Man.
Like, it's crazy. You just take care of yourself physically. And then your mental, your hand-eye coordination, your gaming ability, it all follows after that. And this is coming from a guy with a dad bod. I fail at this a lot of the time. I've joined the gym. I'm trying to get better, but I'm trying to get better because I've read the stuff about this, and I'm aware that it's just pointless trying to. I won't repeat myself, but playing 16 hours a day, doing nothing else is utterly pointless. Because what are you training? What do you use to play games? Your brain, your hands, your eyes, your ears, your senses, your processing power. Mm-hmm. Why are you running your body? You wouldn't run like Why are you running your body past its clock speed? You know, we have an inbuilt rhythm. You're burning out your body, so that extra 8 hours you played today to play for 16 hours, you fucking meant nothing because your body was burnt out for the second 8 hours. You need to pace yourself.
Damn, man.
You know?
I literally never thought about that. Like, I always imagined gaming because, I mean, your habits are formed pre anybody playing.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, a lot of the time.
So when like, I mean, obviously my video game time just kind of adapted into commentary time, or like learning commentary and that sort of stuff that I would just like review up until, like you're saying, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just watch shit back or whatever, talk about like little notepad or whatever, just talking about that sort of stuff. But
well, like,
shit makes
be honest,
so much
be honest
sense
with yourself. Looking back at that experience, I guarantee you, even if you still had the notes and you went back and looked at them based on, like, as you go down through the notes, I guarantee you they get worse and worse as time went on. That your first hour is your best hour. And if you didn't take a break, you're never getting back to that first hour.
Shit. Damn.
A lot of this comes from, because, like, I was always into gaming, but until I became a fat old man, I was massive into sports as well.
Right.
So
Okay.
I played basketball and rugby, like, very competitively when I was young. I actually have an inter-varsity All-Ireland medal for basketball.
Let's go, dude.
Collegiate medal. Yeah, so then, you know, some life decisions happened and I got fat. And I'm happy being fat now, you know. But it just really taught me that, like, I think the idea that your performance in any skill, even if it's sitting on your arse at a computer, that is still using so many unseen processes in your brain that are reliant on your body being in good physical condition to keep them going.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, look, this happens in the more kind of traditional esports, that as soon as you're assigned to a big team, they'll hook you up with a personal trainer and a dietitian, and you have your own chef based in the house or whatever.
But why do you think that? Like, that's exactly.
Of course, I mean, like, these people cost so much money to have on.
You have any idea how, like, a full-time chef and PT costs?
Right, like, I mean, and to have them on your roster, of course, it must make sense. I literally never connected these dots. This was always just almost like a buzzword that I used to throw out to angry mams or whatever, and be like, no, but they have a chef, they have a personal trainer. I never thought about it. That, of course, it has to make sense.
They seem like bonuses, but they're not. They're integral parts of the system.
Right. Jesus. Shit. Damn, man.
Yeah.
God, that's terrifying. Jesus, man. Maybe I should go to the gym.
You know, but you see, here's the thing, right? So, and okay. How do I say this without offending anyone?
Shit, here we go.
It's gaming at the end of the day, and you do often encounter people who are like world champions, extremely good at their game, you know, top tier level, ultra mega, super grandmaster, diamond, golden, legendary, Tekken warrior rank.
Sure.
And they're morbidly obese.
Fair.
Right? I absolutely 100% guarantee you, if that person was in shape, they'd be even better.
Damn.
It's as simple as that.
Dude, when
and this is coming from somebody who was borderline obese. I've got a big... I'm not going to show it to the camera, but I've got the gut, you know. So, you know, I think it's just...
You know what, I think I should fucking... I should zoom in my head to match your head. But, yeah, dude, he came in and, like, obviously, like, he's been recording shit for fucking years and shit. And he was like literally, like, in our kind of recording chat, he was just like, all right, so this is what you do. You go into this sort of thing. Make new folders here with that. You need to, so separate out the cameras and the audio here. This is what you got to do. Whatever. And, like, I was like, this is incredible, man. That's so cool. I entirely forgot because I then spent the next 2 hours talking to him, getting absolutely fucking hammered, man. Like, you know. So
did you learn something?
At the time, dude, I learned Globku is a legend. I kind of like Globku anyway, like, you know. But he's the first person who came onto the podcast that I would just say something. And, like, I like to talk shit, like, you know. So I'll just, like, say, I think commentary is probably comes more from the heart than the brain. Whatever the fuck I said, and he would, like, be the first person to, like, listen to it and go, no, I think you're wrong. So the reason why, and I'm like, what did you, okay, I'm listening now, like, you know.
You can't have an honest discussion unless everybody's speaking their mind, even if that includes disagreeing, you know?
Absolutely. No, I mean, like, it was fantastic, but, like, I think it's the thing of, like, I got into the habit of, like, the easiest people to talk to in this world are other commentators, because we're all fucking loud, we're all fucking, you know, we all love games, and even if it's like separate games, we all have very similar, almost kind of interpersonal skills or whatever, that everything is just like, yes man, oh no, wait, where are we going for a beer? I am definitely there, or whatever, like, you know, whereas, like, you know,
it's bombastic, but it's the type of personality I think that it attracts. So
yeah, and so Globku was one of the first guests that I had that wasn't a commentator, or like he's just getting into commentary now, but comes from YouTube.
Mostly content creator.
Yeah. And so like he didn't have the same view that I have in the industry, like, you know, and like he's very successful in his right, and like coming in with that viewpoint into where we live, like, was just it was so interesting to have a chat with him, man. He's a really, really cool guy.
Yeah, it does sound really interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I don't know, man, maybe he's famous or something, man, because he got way more views like in 24 hours than my two good friends like Dunk and C4. I don't want to call him out, but Dunk and C4, man, up your profile, bro.
Someone's a content creator, you know, they have an established audience to share these things with. It just makes sense.
Yeah. God.
Which, based off that, means my mom will probably listen to this because she's my like audience.
Let's go, dude. Shout out to Spud's mom, man. Let's go, dude. No, man, I've always been a fan of you. Like, and I still remember sitting in a hotel in Cork. Was it Cork or Dublin? I can't even remember. And you were explaining to me like the breakdown of Street Fighter, because I came in exclusively through Tekken. Like, I wasn't into fighting games and picked Tekken.
You were into Tekken.
I was into Tekken, like, you know. And then like you were saying some stuff about like, was it DP or, you know, FADC or something. Like at the time I was like, what are these words? Like, you know, I don't like sidestep. You ever heard of it? Like, you know.
What do you mean, the third dimension? You're being ridiculous.
But I still remember you breaking down. Was it an FADC or something? You were explaining some like basic fighting game concept, but Tekken players don't or didn't have to deal with that. Like, you know, be it like DPs or fucking, you know.
I think it was just the whole anti-air game being the most important thing, or not one of the most fundamental things you need to learn as a new player was anti-airing, which until, you know, Akuma and whatnot just wasn't a thing really in Tekken, was it?
Of course, yeah. I mean, we didn't have to care about that. And, like, jump was a thing that was like gimmick. Like if anybody jumped in Tekken, you were like, that was a miss info. That was a missed info, dude. Like,
that was meant to be a hop kick or something.
Yeah, he needs to tighten the lever on his stick, like, you know, like. But now, like, you know, we were forced into this, like, and sort of, you know, who was the best anti-air in the game, like against Akuma or Geese or, you know, shit. Everybody has to start thinking a little bit harder and stuff, you know.
Ironically, I don't know this, but I'm going to have to assume Akuma has the best anti-air against Akuma because he has the DP. I don't know how it works in Tekken. I only watch Tekken.
So I have a rule. I know Fuzzy Guard is named after a fighting game term, but I really don't like to break down fighting game stuff.
Okay.
There are, but I will make an exception because I really, really like that question. No, Akuma does not have the best anti-air in the game. There are characters, because they now use in 7 they use Unreal Engine 4, hitboxes are actually accurate to the character. So if you have a taller character, his jab is better at dealing with a jump in than a shorter character.
Or the likes of I'm not going to say his name because I can't
yeah, of course.
That makes sense too, though, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, but it does. But then there's moves that have like, you know, like a kick. Yeah. And like that's going to take you out of the air.
Gonna cover more the area you need to cover. I see.
Yeah. But now, for anybody who just clicked off the podcast, you're about to miss out because
we're done the fighting game section.
We're about to talk about our favorite sex positions. Whoa, thumbnail like this.
Ironically enough, mine is also DP.
That was good. That was too good. You are such a commentator right now. That was too fucking good.
Anyone's under the age of 18 listening to this podcast, please do not Google what that means. You will get in trouble and I will get in trouble.
Pretty sure we have the flag for mature content.
Okay, thank God.
This is the thing where we got to give a special shout out to Drift. Drift, as you're reviewing this, please just hit the flag for mature content. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Thank you. But yeah, dude, man, I don't know, man. Like, esports and fighting games is kind of weird. Although I was looking at tweets recently. Apparently, fighting games are about to make like some sort of huge like pickup for like esports orgs and that sort of stuff, because we're the ones that can operate on like a really, really low budget and still generate massive amount of profit for the events that are done, whereas Call of Duty, Fortnite, any of the traditional esports, they have to pump in so much money before a profit is generated, whereas fighting games tend to be a lower in and a higher out. And now the next generation is looking incredible with Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Project L, like
probably eventually get like Guilty Gear, fucking Strive, Revelit, or Max Turbo 2, and it'll be the good version.
And Mortal Kombat 12 then just thrown in.
Well, yeah, apparently that is on the way, as far as we know.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, but it's interesting. I don't know. Did you see the announcement? The announcement at Capcom last week, in Capcom Cup. The announcement.
Do you mean the $2 million?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think more than anything that will incentivize more orgs. Like, I feel like it's almost like in me looking into like how tournaments are run, the cost of tournaments, how esports orgs get involved, all this kind of stuff. It seems like the $1 million mark can be a magic number for esports orgs.
Dude, right? Okay, can you imagine right now what Punk's inbox looks like? Like.
Yeah,
but that's gotta be flooded, right? It's straight up gotta be flooded with because everybody, even if Punk doesn't win, if he comes sixth, that prize pool is so big that
I think how it breaks down, and I'll double check, is that first place gets 1.2 million.
1.2. Okay.
And then 800,000 for the rest, I think.
But do you know any of the kind of players who have been competing in, Capcom Cup or whatever, any of these kind of big names in the Street Fighter world, they're now looking at, if I do this, I'm set for life. If somebody said, if you work harder than you've ever worked in your life for the next 12 months, you will never have to work again. That's the point when you say, I don't care about family, I don't care about friends, I will look after you in 12 months' time.
The problem with that, I think, is you always have to remember none of this exists in a vacuum. There is thousands, if not tens of thousands of people attempting the same.
Totally.
And that's the difficult. And the other thing is, I think, interestingly, because it's going to be 6, it's going to be a new game. And I don't know how it is with Tekken releases, but each Street Fighter main title is wackily, bizarrely different from the previous one. 5 is nothing like 4, 4 is nothing like 3, 3 is nothing like 2.
Right.
Okay. Use the silly example of 3, Third Strike. Every character just constantly has access to a parry by tapping forward.
Yeah.
That fundamentally changes jumping, moving on the ground, fireballs, everything. 4 doesn't have that. Totally different game.
Right, of course.
So 6 is going to be, all your fundamentals will still matter, but the more unique things, sometimes they could take more than a year with Street Fighter titles. Proper FADC usage took years. One frame links in Street Fighter 4 took years to perfect. So what I would say about this Capcom Cup having such a massive prize pool is that I think this is the most open it's ever going to be.
Open?
Do you know what I mean?
By open, you mean geographically, or are
No,
you talking
no,
about...
as in, okay, so if this prize pool was for this Capcom Cup, I could have probably told you before it started 5 players who I would have thought had 10 times as much chance as the other 32.
Right, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that this will be a far more open field of play
Sure. I mean, the game is brand
because
new.
it's a new game.
It's not even released, like, you know?
So I think it's the combination of a new game and a massive prize pool. I think we're going to see ridiculous numbers of both orgs and players.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be new. I think it's returning. It will be the key word.
Returning.
Maybe people who, play Street Fighter 5 used to go to majors, used to host events, used to sponsor players as an org for the first couple of years of Street Fighter 5. It didn't work out. Now you see a new game. The prize pool is $2 fucking trillion, bajillion, mega trillion dollars. Maybe you come back to playing the game. I think it's going to be a much more difficult to, narrow down who has an actual chance.
But it's very easy to incentivize players now, like, with this.
It is.
And, like, to be fair, like, I'm a Tekken boy. I'm a Bandai Namco diehard. Yes, sir. No, sir. But Jesus, man, Capcom are making it very difficult to be the big boys here. Like, like, they are doing everything, like,
and
so
do you know what's one thing that I think is factoring into this decision is the imminent release of Project L. Because if Capcom don't front up right now, if Bandai don't front up right now, if Arxis don't front up right now, Riot are going to have prize pools. I mark my words. The first Project L World Finals, or whatever they decide to call it, we're going to be talking multiple tens of millions.
You think so?
I guarantee it. Absolutely.
Damn, man.
I really, league. What's the League World's prize pool? Like,
Jesus.
if I remember right, last year it was.
Hold on. Cian, do you mind if I run and take a very quick piss while you're looking that up, and we can continue this in 2 minutes? Sorry, bro.
Take your time.
Fucking
Take your time.
shit is running through me, man.
Take your time.
Where,
I do.
Yeah,
Many of my fabulous commentary pictures are from him.
dude, he
Great
is
dude.
some sort of, and he's gonna love that I say that. And do you know what, Drift, leave this in, man. This should be in. But it's always the thing about anytime Drift takes a picture of me, it's like profile pic, like straight up, like,
Yeah, he always catches the good side of my lighting.
That's
and
it.
whatnot.
Sorry, you were saying, all right, about League of Legends finals, right?
Oh, yeah,
So they're up in the millions, right? Like, that's like
Right.
the esport like
Like,
level.
okay, so I got the numbers so
Okay.
we can talk about it properly, right? So the largest ever for League was 6.5 million. But the top 7 biggest prize pools ever, in order 1 to 7 are all the same event, the Dota International.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Which at its highest in 2021 was $40 million. Right?
Yes.
Okay? So even if you take the highest League One ever, 6.5, you quarter it down to like 1.75 million. But that's just the finals. What about majors? Because if they go Project L route of making it like proper esports majors, like how much is a Call of Duty major or a LoL or a Dota? Like, you're talking hundreds of thousands, not millions, but still hundreds of thousands in total prize pool.
Absolutely, like,
Over the course of a year, what about Evo? Are Project L going to try and convince Evo to do something like an international there?
Okay, so this is this.
No, but this is all predicated that are Riot going to push Project L as hard as League? Probably not.
Okay, so
like I'm talking best case scenario.
Like, no, right. So this was the thing that I was having a chat with a brand manager for a company. Anyway, and they were talking about Project L and how orgs, as in like the just purely the business side of it. They don't care about the game or the players, or just purely financially speaking. Everybody wants in on Project L. And the reason why is because when Valorant was coming out, everyone said, oh, it's just a CSGO clone with an Overwatch vibe.
Yeah,
to
it's
it, right?
yeah.
Now you can't talk about esports without talking about Valorant. Like they,
I mean, it's overtaken the FPS genre to an extent. Like,
but like it is now like as you talk about
I see what you
esports,
mean.
you talk about.
So these same orgs are like all fighting games, but they're like, no, hang on a second, let's not make the same mistake we made with Valorant.
Absolutely. When you look at the kind of gameplay of Project L, you say, oh, it looks like any kind of 2D animated type fighter or whatever. But the fact is they're going to do something with that because they are Riot and they can just do stuff with games that nobody.
Infinity money.
Like maybe it's the money, maybe it's the sort of design of their games, maybe it's where they put them. I have no idea.
Combination of everything.
Yeah,
it's lightning in a bottle kind of a deal, I think.
It's absolutely insane how they can capitalize on these already existing genres using this already existing. Like, have you played Valorant? It's CS:GO. It's CS:GO with abilities. Like if an indie game came out like that, you'd be like, no, it's great. I can't wait to see what your next game looks like. Yet when Valorant smokes people, like, you know.
But do you know why? I think it's because Riot have the infrastructure in place. So new game comes out. I'm not saying they copy and paste by any means, but they have the experience and the facilities and the people and the knowledge of already running like top 10/top 5 largest esports tournaments in the entire world ever.
Yeah.
You can't, like, nothing outweighs that experience, I think, is what they really have.
Right, yeah. No, I agree with that, but like
League was the lightning in the bottle, but they somehow have fucking shoved it back in and can use it whenever they want.
It seems, you know? It seems it, man. Like, I mean, like in terms of Dota, obviously Dota International, that's the pinnacle. That's the Oscars of esports.
It is.
You know. But then League of Legends came out and they were no, it's good. Yeah, no, we're about to like beat that. And like, you know.
But see, here's the thing. I have a theory, and it's kind of cynical, but I think the reason the prize pool for the international is so high, it's incentive. League, for the last 10 years, has had, I don't know what the exact numbers, but it hovers between like 1.5 to 2 times the amount of players that Dota 2 has.
Right. Okay. So
of course Dota is going to be like, no. All you professional League players, you can earn 10 times as much playing Dota.
Fair. Now, what I do know about the international is their prize pool is partly crowdfunded. That they have all of those cosmetic,
which is amazing
things. Oh, I mean, absolutely fantastic.
Capcom Cup actually has been doing the same the last 4 years. So if
the thing pissed me off.
No,
so much.
Really?
Like, so really? Street Fighter 5, dude. Right? Okay. Now, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Like, and I'm gonna let all of these like beautiful viewers in on a secret. But so I actually know the person who organizes the majority of Street Fighter rounds in Europe, right? And he said to me, he was like, why, like, Tekken's great, do Tekken, that's fine, but why don't you just learn Street Fighter as a commentator? You don't have to be great at the game. Like, so I said, look, realistically speaking, I can add some extra shows onto my kind of yearly run, right? So grand, I installed Street Fighter 5, the Champion Edition, because there's 2 editions on Steam. What the? Okay, there's Street Fighter 5. Now, nobody fall into this mistake, because I nearly did. There's Street Fighter 5, and then there's Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition. Now, from the rumor I heard, it was because Street Fighter 5 got such bad reviews that they just, instead of doing DLCs, they just did a whole other game, right? I don't know.
It's right? Street Fighter tradition, right? Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 5 went Street Fighter 5, Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition, and then Champion Edition.
Ah, right. Okay. I didn't know that.
So, for example, if you purchase it on a console, it's the same software. It just updates to a new version of the software with a new logo and a new menu.
Right. But
yes, on Steam, it's very confusing.
2
I know it is.
Separate games. And then you see, like, Street Fighter 5 is 60 cents on sale. And you're like, Jesus, man, that's crazy. I'm going to pick that. Oh, wait. I actually can't play that one because we have to get on this one, which is
Well, you can't play it. It's just a 4-year-old game that you can't play online.
right. But it was the ads, dude. Like the ads kind of got me. That I was like,
oh really?
What are the advertising? Do you know, like pre-match? Like we're watching the Super Bowl. Like you
can turn them off. It's fine.
Can you?
You can turn them off. Yeah.
Oh, that shows how deep into this idea I was invested.
You can turn it off. You can turn it off.
I played Street Fighter 5 for about 15 hours, and then I was like,
just not for you.
Like I was just like, I love Tekken, but you see, as I said earlier on, like I came into Tekken from a video game point of view, not an FGC.
Not a fighting game. Yeah.
Like I never went to the arcades. There was no arcades in Kilkenny as I was growing up, like, you know. So I was into, like, I would play COD with my buddy, but like Metal Gear Solid is my like game back in the day and that sort of stuff, like, you know. So Tekken, like, so I came up in the PlayStation like world. So Tekken 3 was the PlayStation launch title, like, you know. Yeah. So I was Spyro, Crash, Metal Gear Solid, and Tekken. That was like it. That was
your introduction. Yeah.
Those were my games, like, you know. So then as Tekken kind of progressed, I always played Tekken, but it was only then when I went to the first Celtic Throwdown, I was like, oh, this is a real thing, like, you know.
Yeah. I have an extremely similar story. Yeah. In that, like, for me, it was more a Capcom thing than a PlayStation thing.
Right.
So for me, Capcom has and probably always will be my favorite video game developer.
I mean, they've put out like gem after gem after gem. Like,
Street Fighter, Resident Evil, and Devil May Cry. I could just stop there. Sorry, Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter was the one I was.
If you were to combine my total play hours in those 4 franchises, it would be more than every other game I've ever played combined. No doubt. Yeah. Like, as a child, I played every version of Monster Hunter.
Really?
Once I became a teenager, I became obsessed with horror games, and Resident Evil, in my opinion, are the pinnacle of horror games.
Absolutely.
You know, and then I like my first Street Fighter I ever owned. Right, this is going to be a bizarre one for anyone out there who's a boomer. Was Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, which is a version of Street Fighter Alpha 3 which only exists as a PSP port and is totally unbalanced and has extra characters and broken mechanics.
Jesus.
That was my introduction to fighting games.
Christ.
But I was like 8 or 9. Then there was an arcade in Cork, so I was lucky enough to be able to actually use an arcade on occasion.
Right.
And then as I got older, I got Street Fighter 4, I got into it, I used to play it online, but I played it online the same way I would play something like Call of Duty online.
Right.
You know, I play a couple of games, and then I give someone a finger and flip them off, and like, feck this, I know. But eventually I something clicked in my head where I started seeing it more like a puzzle to be figured out. Like, something clicked in my brain as a teenager that, like, these idiots are doing the same thing over and over again. If I can just figure out how to stop it, I'll win. And that is what sent me down the rabbit hole of finding Celtic Throwdown.
Right, yes.
Which is, the first one I went to was like 2015? Christ, I don't even remember. This was way before I commentated. I had a different tag, a different username. It was like my cringe, like gamer tag from when I was a teenager.
Machine Head is the greatest. 420.
Yeah. 6'9", big balls, 6'9", or I don't even. Yeah. So, but similar to you, like, I was Street Fighter. It's only been, I say, for me personally, I have played every single Street Fighter, not in the order they came out, because I how old am I? 29 this year. So I'm old enough that, like, you know, 3 and 4 were what's the word? Contemporary. Like, I was able to play them as they came out.
Yeah.
But, like, other fighting games, I was just a totally other hemisphere of thought. I hadn't even considered them. When I found out that Smash Bros. Was considered a fighting game, it blew my mind. And I was like, right, okay, that makes sense, though. I just never joined the dots.
Does it?
Yeah, come on. I know people like the meme on Smash, but I don't know what. Specifically in Ireland, the Smash guys are really cool. They're really nice. They're really approachable.
Definitely.
But yeah. But in recent years, I've been like, hang on a second. I just like fighting games. I don't just like Street Fighter. which is what brought me to end up commentating anything that doesn't have side stats, basically.
That's exactly it. Like, that's exactly it, man. Yeah, and it was the thing of, I remember that it was the Celtic Throwdown that I was hosting, that me and you were like chatting and stuff, and you were like
21, I think, 2 years ago now.
It was the first one. It was the first one that was back offline after the
2021.
Lockdown.
So
yeah.
2021.
And I remember talking to you about that, and you were like, "Oh yeah, so I'm doing Street Fighter top 8. I'm doing Guilty Gear top 8. I'm doing like," and you just like listed off You did like, what did you do? Like 14-hour days.
I did. I introed Guilty Gear pools with Dunk. That was really fun.
Dunk is the greatest.
Dunk's great fun. Dunk's great fun.
Dunk.
Yeah. I think we worked really well as well, because I think we had a good mix where we could both be analytical, but most of the time we were both just having fun, but throwing it, it worked well.
It was your reel. You just released your reel. Shoutouts, fucking everyone go on to fucking AceofSpuds fucking Twitter right now, man.
On the Twitter. And then I did Dragon Ball top 32. Then I went back for Guilty Gear top 32.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, and then the following day I did a portion of Guilty Gear top 8 where I attempted to drag you on for it.
Oh, was that top 8?
Sorry, top 16. It was either top 16 or top 32.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And then I went and did Street Fighter top 8. So yeah, I think in a 24-hour period, I commentated 14 hours with like an hour break in between.
Dude.
And look, I said it to the TOs at the time, I'm happy to do it this once, because they were kind of caught with their pants down, because people who said they were going to commentate either didn't arrive because they couldn't get there because of travel, or pulled out last minute. But I vowed to myself never again, because I was breaking all my own rules that I talked about earlier, that you need to let your body be prepared,
Dude, so I will expand on that point, but like, just purely for the physical side of it, your neck gets fucked, right? Like, and like, for what we do with it, no, I'm not talking you personally, but like commentators in general, anybody who gets hype and uses our voice as this instrument to express hype, it
is an instrument.
It absolutely, like, I mean, like, and some people are good at it, some people have practice with it, like, some people are fucking concert fucking first violins with that shit, like.
1 second.
No sweat, we got some dogs.
No, we're all good. Sorry, I just had myself muted. I don't know if you could hear him barking, but he's very loud, and this is the easiest way to keep him quiet for another 5 minutes or 10. He'll calm down after a while.
No, but just purely talking about the physical side of commentary.
Gonna go down.
I just like I tweeted like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or whatever, about warm-ups. I was like, so anybody in the commentary sphere, do y'all do warm-ups, or are you crazy or something? I can't remember what I tweeted, but the majority of like mainstream big commentators don't do warm-ups, and I was like, you are all fucking insane. Like,
I can put my hand up, right? I'm still smoking. I'm smoking way less. I'm constantly on the path to quitting. This is something I have no shame. I'm very open about it. I'm a recovered addict from a lot harder drugs than nicotine.
Oh yeah?
But I just cannot quit the nicotine. But my number one motivation, it's joint between, I don't want to smoke around my pets, and I don't want to smoke around any future children I have.
Fair.
Second, the only thing that comes close to that reasoning is, if I ever want to continue or accelerate or improve where I am in the esports industry as a commentator, why am I pouring cancer into the instrument that I use, Fair. That's my motivation for quitting. Like the staying healthy thing, it's kind of, it works sometimes, but exactly, like, I think it was you, it wasn't Headstomper, but it was one of the first times that we met, and you were telling me about your previous experience with music and in a band and the vocal training. And it was only from that conversation with you that I looked into vocal warm-up and exercising and how to not let my throat go to shit after using it for 4 hours in a row.
So important. It's so important. Like, I mean, like, people... And, like, I say people, but what I'm talking about is, like, people that do 3-day events, like, you know, and the commentators that do
insanity.
3-day events, like, you know, we have to have, and like, so this is the thing. I want to give her a shout out, but my phone is, I don't bring my phone to the podcast just purely for the thing, but like,
it's a distraction.
I met this lady at Evo, and she's been a vocal coach for years. She's a commentator as well, and a singer and a voice actor, right? But she hit me up and she was talking about vocal recovery routines, right? Shit that I had never heard of before. Because I'll go out, smoke 85 cigarettes, scream into a microphone for 6 hours, and then just go home and be like, why is my voice sounding like this? Like,
that,
you know?
that Celtic Throwdown we were talking about 2 years ago, right? I literally went home and, like, Amy, my partner, spent the entire next 2 weeks being like, this is fucking great. Keane can't talk. It's the first time in his entire life. I was like, hi, could you make me a cup of tea? Like, just totally gone for at least 3-4 days.
It's crazy, man. But like, so she hit me up with this recovery routine, which is like something that I never thought about. Obviously, like, when you think about like preparation or whatever, warm-ups and stuff all comes before. Stay hydrated, that all happens during. But like, this recovery routine, wait, am I frozen?
You are indeed frozen.
What's this about? This ain't never happened before. So when I started this, like, I had like a team, like, and the boys were fucking good, man. Like, you know, so do you remember Labyrinth? Do you know Labyrinth used to be the singer for Tiny Tempa.
Oh, yeah.
Labyrinth.
Ironically, my girlfriend and her friend who have gone out for a few drinks were listening to literally Labyrinth earlier today.
So,
and I was like, but I didn't join the dots because I was like, there's nobody in the FGC called Labyrinth.
I know, right? Yeah. But no, the musician called Labyrinth. The old production manager, as in the guy who would sign up pre actually recording this and doing that, is Labyrinth's stream manager. That guy,
right?
Like, goes to his house to stream, like in London, like, just like, Labyrinth, come in, like, he's his stream manager. I had a guy on graphics who does the graphics for TWT, does graphics for Capcom Cup. I had that guy on my thing, and then I had, like, so Drift initially came in as like the upload guy. He was just going to be the guy. He knew where to get the podcast so that anybody who wanted to listen to it could listen to it. Now, in the process, people get busy. I understand this is I hate to use the word grassroots, but you know, I'm not starting with a huge sponsor behind me or anything or whatever. But Drift has been the one that, like, sits in. Dude, I had a strategy meeting about the podcast, and like, just sitting talking what worked in the first couple of episodes, what we want to change going through or whatever, like, you know, and whatever.
But it's the same as commentary. Anything you do, you have to review,
of course,
and, you know, assess your thing, you know.
That's that's one of my main strengths, that, like, I did not do that right the last time. That will never happen again.
Well, fair play, because it's really fucking hard looking in that mirror and being like, no, I fucked up. Really hard for most people, you know.
That's why I'm so happy to have, like, such fantastic friends around me who are, like, incredible in the industry, like yourself, and, like, you know, boys like Jammers, or, you know, Spag, and the kind of Tekken scene, that, like, you know, I get these just weird pearls of wisdom that, you know, you could definitely take as an insult, like, you know, Jesus Christ, don't curl your mustache that much or whatever, and, like, I take that and it's like, no shit, like, man. And I think,
like, on a specific note, like, especially Jammers, like, I have great time for Jammers. Anytime I asked him for anything, you know, advice, you know, I've only worked with him a couple of times, but he was always very open. But the first time he told me something that I could improve on, I was like, oh no, I'm terrible. And then I realized where he was coming from. He was coming from a place of, I don't know what the word, care. Yeah. Genuine, you know, look, here is something, you know, you asked me a question, I'm doing my best. And I was like, you know what? That kind of honesty and telling you where you can improve is what you need from people around you in a performative industry, because that's what this is. It's performative.
100%. It's a weird, creative, professional, performative industry. Like, you know, so if you have somebody who, obviously somebody like Jammers who's been in it for so long and like is just like, I mean, I don't think there's any commentator in the esports sphere that doesn't rate Jammers as one of the top 5. Like,
I think when it comes to like, I don't think there's been a better Street Fighter 5 analytical commentator than Jammers.
No, like, I mean, but like, if you think of the FGC as a whole, he's up there in the top kind of.
He is.
Top 3.
I absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
You know, he's incredible at the shit that he does.
When I make the FGC Commentary Hall of Fame, he'll get a gold star.
That's it, man. That's what's up. Like, but yeah, I mean, but that's the thing of, dude, he's so honest and like, you know, I feel like if I did shit, Jammers, and if I asked Jammers, hey, how did that go? He would straight up say,
that was shit.
That was shit, bro. But let's talk about how to make it better. No, fucking 100%, dude.
Like I said, I've only had those kind of interactions with him a handful of times, but that's one of the reasons I respect him so much, is because to be so high at the top of your game, but to also be able to be so honest with people who are trying to improve and be like, no, don't, like as you said, very few people, you know, even in the UK, right? Let's take the UK. You've got people, you know, like I'm just coming from a Street Fighter point of view, you know, Jammers, you got F-Word, you got Logan, you got Damascus, you got Tyrant. Those are kind of like who I immediately think of as like in the UK commentating Street Fighter. You know?
Yeah.
Combined, they have more experience than 1,000 commentators that are just getting started. So if what they're saying is critical, it's coming at you from a place of knowledge and, like I said, what I view as like care, that they're actually taking the time to tell you, no, you fucked up.
Yeah. I feel like that word is really important there, and I didn't catch that the first time. Care. Like, if they didn't give a shit how you were going to do it, they would have said,
whatever,
good.
bro, that was
good.
fine. Yeah.
Nice job. Yeah.
But then you would also crash and burn the next one. It's that honesty to tell you need to improve.
Absolutely,
you know?
And it is that like that word you said, care. Like, they want you to be better. Like, you know, like, I fucking, Jesus, man, that's good, man. Christ, yeah. And I think a lot of people get offended about, like, as soon as you pick apart, like, you know, like, so I get DMs sometimes just being like, hey, will you review this VOD and tell me how to do commentary or whatever.
Big better. Make me good now.
Can you give me the win button? Fucking, you know, so like, there's usual things like don't talk over people, stop reading chat, like, you know, the sort of generic rules, like, fucking, if he's hype, just, you don't have to match his level, like, you know.
If
like,
you don't know what's happening, shut up.
I mean, fair.
And look, that was something I learned the hard way, right? And I can be totally brutally honest about this because I'm far enough away from it. And ironically enough, once again, this story is about our good friend HD Jammers.
Let's go.
But it's actually the same Headstomper we met. Which would have been
he's
20...
4K Jammers now, I believe.
Sorry. I'm Street Fighter anyway. Yeah. So that was 2019? 2018?
Christ,
4 or 5 years ago at least.
Christ.
Right?
That's so terrifying, man. 2019 is 4 or 5 years ago?
So this was at a stage where I was commentating Saltmine. I was commentating stuff for the new Challengers Discord, some of their kind of weekly occasional things. That's... Actually, can I just give them a quick shout out? Because if you want to learn, for me specifically, Street Fighter is where that Discord new challengers. It's if you go to I think it's on Reddit. If you just look for new challenger Discord, Google it. I have never found a place easier to find games and easier to find people willing to sit down with you and coach you.
Nice.
And just help you to the point where, you know, guys that I met on this who helped me improve the game, then, you know, saw me become a commentator. Wanted to come to Celtic Throwdown, came to Celtic Throwdown, and we ended up staying in room. You know, these people who 4 years previous had been my sensei, getting better at Street Fighter. You know, it's a fantastic community. I really recommend it to anybody who's looking to get into fighting games.
Is that r/new challengers? Is it?
I think so.
Yeah. we'll definitely throw that up in the YouTube comments.
Yeah. There's the Twitter. They have a Twitch channel where they do their tournaments. I think Sensor is currently running all the EU ones, where it's like they have an underdog one, so you can only enter if you're gold or below, and then they have a bracket for people from gold to platinum, and then they have a bracket from people from kind of platinum plus, and then people who do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so important. That's like
having an environment where the skill ceiling is capped makes what you think your skill floor is way less scary.
But the thing is, the tournament experience doesn't change for any tournament whatsoever. No. It doesn't matter. You get the same adrenaline, you get the same nerves, you get the same, oh shit, I'm going against that guy. That guy just bet that guy, and I know that guy, and he's good.
I have developed month-long rivalries by entering the same tournament 4 times in a row. Dude. This is the fucking fella who's he's a rank below me, but he bet me last week, and there's no way I'll let him bet me this week.
Yeah.
No way.
No, absolutely. But I mean, you get that tournament experience, and whether it's this fucking gold capped or fucking fucking diamond or fucking super fucking star, even if you're going to Capcom Cup or whatever, it's the same emotions. It's the same brain state that you go through in that sort of the adrenaline, how to control that.
I have felt more freaked about matches against people at my rank because of where it was in a tournament than I have felt against playing Problem X because it was round 1, so I didn't care. I knew I was going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of just let that match go, or whatever.
Yeah, but as the tournament experience never changes. It's just the people.
Yeah, and it's funny, dude. Those capped leagues, or whatever, those things are so important for kind of developmental players, players that want to be competitive but just need another year, need another 12 months, to...
And similar to that, just another quick shout out as well as the Salty EU guys, the Nordic guys.
I cannot shout out Salty EU enough. Dude, Salty EU is still to this day the only Discord server I've ever been in that have a commentary section on their Discord and then a commentary feedback.
Yeah, I mean we've both been to meetings with their TOs to what they're looking for, Of
course.
But again, I think it's currently only specifically for Guilty Gear, but they also have a beginners tournament. And what they do is if you win the beginners tournament, you graduate. You're never allowed to enter again.
That's so cool.
And it's this really good system that there's a prize to winning. The prize is get the fuck out of here and join the big boy,
Yeah.
And the thing they do is if you won the beginners tournament and then you enter the bigger tournament next week, your match will be round 1 stream guaranteed because you won the beginners tournament.
That's so
week.
Cool. That's so cool.
New challengers, Salty, those guys doing those beginner things, it's such a good way to transition into competitiveness.
Totally, 100%. But I mean, without the arcades, that's how we need to foster that competitive spirit.
The way I view it is online has replaced the arcade for better or worse.
Totally, 100. But you are
initial testing ground, and then you transition to this is big tournaments. There's majors to go to. There's monthlies. There's local. That's where you learn that stuff from, is the online.
Yeah, I mean the difference between you playing ranked and you playing in a tournament is 2-3 years of playing in these type of tournaments, playing in online tournaments, going to your local, beating that one guy that everybody knows is your best at your local, because everybody has one of those, beating that guy or whatever, then deciding, okay, maybe I should go to Celtic Throwdown to mix up Headstomper.
That's another point to make as well. I learned more in 3 days at my first major than I learned in 3 years before going to one.
So
I'm not exaggerating.
As commentators, we have a totally different vibe, though. I love playing the game or whatever, but I feel like our skill set is entirely different, and that exactly what you're saying. I completely agree. But if you're online, you're sitting in your bedroom, not wearing shoes. You can show up in fucking fat mans. All I need to worry about is from as my nipples to the top of my haircut. That's my shit right now. Whereas when I show up to an actual event, it's fucking, I have to be on time. I have to check into hotels. I have
Be
to
prepared.
fucking... Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a different skill set almost. Like, the actual commentary part of it is exactly the same. But I'm sitting beside a guy who is doing something totally different to what I'm used to. I've never commentated with him before. And also, on top of that, I've had 6 hours sleep. Like, you know,
Yeah,
plus a
yeah.
plane ride and shit food for 2 hours. Like, you know, like,
Like,
I completely agree. 3 hours you
and
learn more about esports events.
it reminds me of what I was going to say a while ago, which is with that Headstomper that was maybe, I don't know, but I think we got confused by the date. 2019, 4 or 5 years ago.
Jesus.
I think
fuck.
2019.
It's terrifying.
So I had been doing a lot of online with Salt Mine and those new challengers guys and Salt EU. And to be fair to the TOs, they kind of took a little bit of a risk because I hadn't done a major outside of Ireland.
Right.
I had done some stuff with Celtic Throwdown and As1, but I had never commentated anything big outside of Ireland.
Okay.
So they gave me kind of my first big chance at that.
Yeah.
It was Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle top 8.
Let's
I'm
go.
only laughing because that game was sick and I'm so sad that it died. But no game is dead, okay? If me and you were playing a fighting game, it's not dead. As long as you've got one person to play. But I did that top 8 with Jammers, and it was in build up to the release of the 2.0 version of that game, and Arxis had brought this build to the event to practice and play, but it wasn't out for like another 2 weeks.
Right.
So
I think I remember that.
Going in and doing that with Jammers, that was the worst commentary performance I've ever done in my life, hands down. Okay? So Jammers being so exceptional at analysis and having talked to the players and played loads of the demo himself, already had a great sense of what was coming, on top of incredible analytical,
Jammers is the goat.
knowledge of the game.
He's
Right?
the goat. Like, you know.
I am more of a hype man. I feel like I do know. Okay, I would like, especially Street Fighter, Dragon Ball, Guilty Gear. I would say I have more than adequate and well above average technical understanding of the games.
Fair. Yeah, you would hope so. That.
But with
you
Blaze Blue, I would say like it wasn't as high. It was
Okay.
still pretty good.
Okay.
But that combined with, oh Jesus, I'm commentating with Jammers. He's a cool guy I watched on TV.
Yeah.
The setup that I had been used to at Irish events was a bit different because it's such a silly thing. But at Headstomper, they had a giant white light wash. It was actually Umar with Unequaled Media was running it.
Let's go.
And I won't get into the stories about Umar because I'll get him or me in trouble.
Dude,
So,
I love Umar.
I love Umar.
I love Umar, man.
Great time for all the guys there were on Equal Media, but they had this huge white light, obviously for the production and to get the white values correct.
Mm-hmm.
And when that went on and the screen turned on with me looking at it, washed white out, I just literally a deer in the headlights for a sec, you know.
Of course.
And I think
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
I think during that commentary session, I set the world record for saying absolutely the most amount of times in 2 hours, because I just could not keep up with Jammers at that time, you know. And when I asked him for advice after, all he said was just review the VOD and see it yourself. And
That's
he was
fair.
right,
That's
you
so
know?
fair.
And I think that had I not had such a disaster, no, it wasn't a disaster. It was still a good top 8. The players and competitors put in a fantastic performance that it was easy to commentate.
Yeah.
And when you have someone like Jammers to bounce off, also makes it easy.
Fair.
But it was, in my eyes, my worst commentary session ever. And if I had not have had that so early in my experience of doing majors, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am, where I see myself now.
Fair.
I think having that like difficult and humbling experience early on was like, okay,
That's
it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. I thought I was hot shit.
yeah.
And then
Yep.
when I got to Hollywood, it was not. You know? It was, no, you need to keep working and practicing at this.
Dude, there's no level, right? Like, this was the thing when I started in tech and commentary, right? Spag and Bubsy were the guys that like before I was involved in esports, like, you know, like I used to watch those guys commentating top 8s at European majors for Tekken, right? I just so happened to wriggle my way into the world finals for Tekken, and I was on with Bubsy. First block, first pool, in the LCQ, I think, was me and Bubsy. So I'm sitting with Bubs, and we're just fucking chatting. And he said, dude, I've never been more scared in my life to do this fucking show. And all I could think of in my head is, whatever fucking fears I have, and obviously I am shitting bricks here, but I have fucking nothing to say to this man now, right? Like, because I'm nervous. I'm nervous about doing this shit. But the guy that I watched on YouTube is nervous. Fucking...
it's like but you could ask actors or people who perform in plays, anything. They will tell you they could be doing it 50 years and they will still get excited or nervous or sometimes even afraid when they're about to start to perform. You can't get rid of it. And I think if you don't have it, you shouldn't be. There's something wrong.
Sure, yeah.
I think if you don't get some level of excitement or anxiety, not a nervousness, then maybe you're not respecting or taking it as seriously as you should be. And that's just what I think.
No, absolutely. And I mean, like, dude, it was just such a weird, like, because obviously in my world, me being nervous is the most important thing. Like, and I'm saying that to my girlfriend, I'm saying that to my friends, and all that sort of shit. When I look at my literal idols, and they're like literally, Bubsy made a tweet about imposter syndrome, about the fact that he shouldn't be there compared to the other guys that were there, and I was like,
but we're all human, we're all prone to it,
But exactly, but that changes imposter syndrome in my mind, or it changes the nervousness in my mind. That, like, holy shit, that, like, the guys that I look literally like copied in my first fucking year of commentary are now, I'm doing the same show as them and talking to those guys backstage. They're fucking nervous the same way, like exactly the same way that I'm nervous.
I think that kind of experience that we're talking about, it's somehow, and it doesn't make sense, but it somehow simultaneously makes you more confident and more humble.
Sure. Do you know what I mean? Holy shit, dude. Man, you should be a counselor, man. Fucking Jesus, man. I'm gonna tell you about my mom right now, alright? Okay, Jesus.
No. You're gonna let $60 an hour.
That's so true. That's, like, so true. Because obviously you feel good that the person who kind of fucking carved out the path for you is feeling the same way as you,
and it's just as human as you. You're humanizing each other is a big part of it. Absolutely,
100%. But then also, shit, if he's nervous, should I also be nervous? Fuck, dude. Wait, why is he nervous?
I think, I don't know. There's extra pressure and stress at performing at something that's performative. At your presence, your personality, you're there for who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
That's something I battle with.
Like anything in life, what I've learned is if you expect to be perfect the first time or the 10th time or the 100th time, you're an idiot. There is no perfection of any art or skill. You can just do your best on a given day and improve from there. But that goes for jammers or anybody else or that we've been talking about. I guarantee you that they will tell you that they still also feel there's always stuff to work on.
Logan, Damascus, Tasty Steve, Jammers, all of these guys were shit.
Everybody.
They were shit at once. Like, and it's weird to say. On
the off chance that Yipes watches this, it's gonna seem like I threw his name in just before you called them all shit.
But I'm not saying they're all shit, but in exactly the same way that when you start a game, when you start a fighting game, if I picked up fucking the brand new Project L or whatever, I get the beta for it. I suck right now.
You do.
Like there's no situation where I'm about to be world champion the first day I grab it. Like, so in exactly the same way, commentary, all of those names that we talked about sucked for a long time, right up until the point when they didn't suck, and then people started. Go on. Sorry,
go on, Sam. Sorry.
No, I'm just basically talking about that. Like, commentary is a skill, and like
it is.
Each, like, all of those names, like Yipes, Steve, fucking Jammers, all of these guys have a different fucking like kind of area of expertise that they like to, like, those guys are not like each other, but they're all still considered great commentators, right? That in the same vein of like fighting games, like, you know, like I would be a great Shoto, you might be a good fucking whatever, fucking Zangief,
I love you're
yeah,
great at zoning.
yeah, you know, like we're still good at Street Fighter or whatever, but like those guys also had a completely different path. I don't know now, because I haven't talked to these guys about the way they got into this. I had a little bit of a chat with Steve about it, but like, you know, like these guys all have this weird personality that don't, when you start commentary, stop trying to be perfect. Like, yeah, like
be yourself. It's so cliched, but be yourself.
But
because
like, fuck up.
That's why you're
fuck
there.
up. Like make mistakes. Like be shit for the first.
I am pretty sure at the top 8 I have accidentally let a bitch or a bastard slip. I don't remember which one, but I remember the call.
That in your head, that all you get heard is a, hey, listen, if we could just minimize the swearing, that would be really nice. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, right. You know, and like you said, and I think it touches on like the core of it, which is like, as you said, all of these people, Yipes, Jammers, Logan, James, there's an infinity amount of great commentators out there that I respect and really look up to. But what they all have in common is that most of them have nothing in common in their commentary styles.
Of course.
Because what they've unlocked is the fucking secret of being any kind of performance artist, I think, which is be your fucking self. There are 1,000 commentators out there that want to be Yipes. There are 1,000 commentators out there that want to be Spag. We have Spag and we have Yipes. Be Sam, be Ace. It's just that.
Dude,
you know?
It was literally the last guest that I had on the podcast said, as far as kind of performance or commentary or whatever, be the 11 out of 10 you rather than the 6 out of 10 somebody else.
Was that C4?
No, that was Poch Spice, dude, from the Philippines, dude.
Okay.
Dude is so good at esports, he now does wedding events. I'm not joking. Dude is
He got so good at like event production, or is it?
Yeah, like I mean, he's just so good on the mic that now he hosts wedding events and like does radio shit and stuff. Like that guy does more with his voice than I could dream of. Like, but he said like
with her arms.
But but he was talking about like, you know, we were telling a story that I knew this guy and he was doing like fucking tournaments for Tekken and shit. Like, he wanted to be a commentator, and it was like, I fucking love new commentators because it's incredible for us, like, you know, as like the sort of old guard of commentary, like, you know, that like if I see a new guy coming up and fucking getting shows and fucking doing shit, I'm like, holy fuck, this guy, like, let's watch a fucking whole tournament of this guy, see what he does, see what I like about that.
What's he doing? Is it like you can learn from these?
Totally, 100%.
You know, it's like this line, right? There's a line where you can learn and adapt and understand from other people, but if you go too far close to that line, you just become a shitty facsimile of them. You're like you said, the 6 out of 10 copy, which is what you need to avoid.
Yeah, exactly. Be the 11 out of 10 you, right? And like those are the guys that there's fucking literal hundreds of 6 out of 10 fucking spuds that are commentating online Street Fighter tournaments right now, as we speak right now. That they heard you do a shit at the last fucking show and they literally verbatim quoted you when the same shit happened, right?
See, I'm at the stage where, despite like I do top 8s and I do like, you know, World Warriors, things that do genuinely have hundreds and occasionally thousands, tens of thousands of people watching, I have never ever once considered the fact that somebody has copied what I do or say.
Dude, that's okay.
I just can't imagine it.
Dude, this is a weird thing, right? Okay, so like it is happening. First of all, just so you know, that is happening, right? Okay, because
that is bizarre to me, you know.
If I'm in Europe and I'm starting Street Fighter, right? The only reason I'm starting Street Fighter is because I want to be a commentator. We're the rock stars of this world, right? Like, obviously, fucking the big players are the thing, but I want to be the voice right now, right? I'm watching fucking what's my easily accessible tournament?
Salt Mine,
We're talking
Salty
Salt Mine
EU,
League, Salty EU. Obviously Capcom Cup. I'm watching that, right?
Yeah,
and I'm watching the fucking the finals and that sort of shit. But like to tie me over between fucking this and this, like, you know, whatever. And then I say, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. I start coming up with a fucking fake Irish accent, whatever, fucking doing some shit. Like, I can't believe he just begotten a begosh. Like, you know, Jesus, man.
Like, just make it subtle. Just start saying "fecking" instead of "fucking." Actually, funny enough, just one. I do want to say, just in case they listen, shout out to a user, or a Street Fighter 5 player, TO as well at times, by the name of Shin Yoiba. Does some of the bracket running for Salt Mine as well.
Dude, Shin Yoiba is...
He's my number one fan. Every time he's in the stream, I'm commentating, he's like, yeah, woo, I love Spuds. And, you know, it's one guy. But that has meant so much to my own personal motivation and growth, to just have a couple of people that I know are like, yeah, woo, I like this guy. It's massive.
Dude,
and once you get the first couple of times, you realise, it made me realise that what I was doing was worth something.
But that's so... That fucking part that you're like, I'm grinding, I'm doing my shit, I'm doing fucking... Everything is just like... Next gig, what am I doing next? What am I doing next? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Until you get a fucking Twitter DM. Hey, really appreciate what you fucking said about me on the last show. I really been working hard, and you got that. Fuck, dude. What the fuck, dude? Yeah. I have no idea. I can't remember your name, but I like, that's my goal for every fucking match. That shit, dude. Man, maybe you should have worked harder on this particular move. Oh my god, I really like the way he does this. Like, you know, fuck, dude. And then you get DMs from those players. Fuck, dude. But let's throw back to Shin Yoiba, man. Weird fucking reference, right? But Shin Yoiba is an incredible TO, tournament organizer, for anybody that's not in the FGC. I went for beers with that man in Naples, dude. Shin Yoiba is the man, dude. Like one absolute gentleman.
See, this is one of the bonuses of the FGC. You just name a random person and we both know them some fucking how for different reasons.
It's so true. I mean, like, the industry is so small right now with that. Well, for going back to like junior commentators, do not piss anyone off. I don't care what they said to you. You say, yes, sir, and you turn around and you walk away, because this industry is so small that I hear about Street Fighter commentators. I don't watch Street Fighter events. I could tell you, if there's a Street Fighter World Championship going on, I can tell you the commentators for it. Before...
If I went and commentated not a locals in fucking Budapest that happened to be run by a production company from anywhere in Europe, and I told someone fuck off, Sam would know about it within 30 minutes.
I would be
guarantee it.
I'd be DMing you 45 minutes after, being like, hey bro, what the fuck did you say to that guy, because he's just after hitting me up, man. What's going on? Like legitimately, esports is tiny
without scaring people. But the flip side of that is there's a beauty to this as well, right? And it's without scaring people, that if you are just honest, upfront, and genuine with people, you'll go so fucking far.
Totally. Like, likability and arriving on time are your two most important skills within esports.
The arriving on time one helps with the likability.
Dude.
Just ask is one piece of advice that like I would give any new commentator. You are never going to get an opportunity unless you ask. It's as simple as that. Don't wait for Capcom to see you doing your stream that has 50 entrants and 50 viewers. That's amazing that you're able to produce that on your own. Chances Capcom sees it, 0. Go to Capcom. Look at this cool tournament I'm running and me commentating. Go to your local monthlies, your local majors. Look at this cool thing that I'm commentating. Can I commentate? You will be surprised how often people will be like, please, we only have 4. You know? You'll be surprised.
Exactly. There is so much space. And as far as kind of like commentary at a major level goes, realistically speaking, in the FGC, there's maybe 20 of us in Europe that can do games. Like, I'm talking about all games in terms of majors in the FGC. There's maybe 20 names that you can kind of pick that will do everything. Like, if you were having the pinnacle of FGC, 20 names, even maybe not even 20, like, you know, like, because I mean, Jesus, Damascus Tyrant, Jams, you, maybe me, Spag.
Don't put me in that same category. I'll get imposter syndrome.
Not at all, man. Jesus Christ, you've been working your shit, man. Like, you know, but like,
thanks.
do you know, like, as far as the 2D shit, Dunk obviously gets thrown in, C4 gets thrown in, like, you know, but like, we're talking about, and when I say I know these guys, as in like, I DM these guys regularly, like all of those guys, like maybe not Jammers. Jammers is the one that like, if I meet him at an event, we're tight, like, but we don't like chat, you know. So, but the same with me and Spag, dude. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe let's. Am
I the drama? Is it me?
Yeah, like I mean, like, but exactly what you're saying. Like, there's so many events where you're there day 2. You've gone to day 1 pools or whatever. Day 2 comes around and there's top 32 to 16. 16 to 8, 8 to finals, and they only have 5 people.
But yeah, at a major there could be, right? So if you break it down over the course of most majors now, I would say the average is 2 days, because some are doing the 3 thing with the Friday, and a lot are trying the 1 thing. I love that.
And the 3-day event is my fucking dream. It is. Fly on a Thursday, you leave on a Monday. So good.
It's long weekend, perfect.
So good.
But but the average is still probably 2 days, right? So you're talking, what, 2 to 3 blocks of pools for a given game?
Yeah.
You know, you might have commentary for all of those, or at least 1 to 2 in most cases. As you said, you've got top 32 to top 16, top 16 to top 8, and top 8.
Yeah.
Like, so if it's a major where the game you commentate is the number, you know the way, like, Major A might be mostly associated with Street Fighter, and then Major B might be mostly associated with Smash or Tekken, but there's also, you know, that is how it folds out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking 5 to 6 commentary slots for a game that's like the main game at a major. But you need 6 because people. We work in twos, like, you know. Yeah, so you're talking 10 to 12 people if you wanted to change every slot.
The majority of the time, it's a fucking odd number. And like there is a slot, and I'm sure you've been in these conversations where you're in a production room that are like, just fucking grab anybody that understands this fucking game. Like, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Just grab anybody, because somebody needs to fucking deal with fucking losers bracket top 32 to top 16. Like, and like that's the dream. Like that happened at Evo. Like,
yeah, it did.
Shit, dude. I probably shouldn't call those boys out, but like, that literally happened at Evo. That if you were a prospective Tekken commentator and you wanted to commentate Tekken, Evo is your biggest show. If you were just around and me and you were talking, you would have got that slot. Like this is not the Illuminati club. Like, you don't need to fucking sacrifice a goat to get into this. Just be around. Just be around. Just be good, man.
It's work on your shit. Work on your own stuff. Take feedback. Take criticism. And just fucking ask. But when you're asking, be genuine. Be sincere. Be honest.
Straight up.
Be, you know? And if someone says no, either watch your type of commentary, or else your experience isn't what we need right now, no problem. There's about 10 other events happening at least in the next 6 months.
Fucking
you know?
Jesus
Do you know
Christ,
what I mean?
Man, yeah. I always used to take a note as they'll remember my name the next time.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, they remember the people who asked and said no to. You can't remember someone you've never spoken to.
Exactly. Exactly. You're 100% correct, dude. Like, you know, like, I was told one time that I didn't understand enough about the game of Tekken to commentate European major. I'm not gonna mention names, but the next time it came around, they literally couldn't afford me. to go to their show.
Did you like send them a DM of you at Tekken World Tour Finals? Being like, yeah.
It wasn't even. It was pre-World Tour Finals. Like I wasn't like I just got picked for the World Tour. Like, you know, and I was one of the guys that they would send out to events. Like, you know, and then fucking somebody asked would I do the show, and I said I'd love to. I'd like genuinely I'd love to. Big major show, and fucking I set my rate and. They said, "Oh well, you know, like, is that including your flights in the accommodation?" I said, "Fuck no, dude! Like, you know, like, no. You fly me, you put me up, and then that's my rate. Like, oh well, you know, budget's tight or whatever." And there has fucking been 2 events that I've ever been to that haven't said budget is tight. One of those is Evo. One of those is the World Tour Finals. Like, that's the only event that people have not said, shit, dude, budget's tight. I don't know if we're going to be able to... Fucking everywhere budget's tight, bro. But if you're talking to me, fucking free up budget. I don't care. Like, you know, fucking... Like, Spud, from talking to other literal... world-renowned commentators, my rate is not that fucking high. Like my rate, like, I am not fucking charging the sun.
You're not being exorbitant, right? Yeah.
And people go, shit, man. God, Jesus, you see, so sponsor. We're trying to get a conversation with one of our sponsors. Whatever. Fuck it, dude. This is my rate. Like, you know, fucking, if I fucking really want to do this show, I'll half that, man. I'll fucking half it, dude, because, like, you know, we're not...
I think it comes down to...
I'm so sorry, Spud. You were invited on to listen to me rant. Like, you know?
It's totally fine, because I'm a ranter as well, so we're just taking turns ranting. It works. But, like, the way I view it is it's how much value you put on yourself and what you provide, which is commentary, and how much you specifically care about going to this event. Like, there'll be times where, you know, I really, really want to get to this event. So, if I cut my rate, but it means they're paying for me to get to the event, I'll consider it. There's other times where I don't want to go to this event. I have like 6 things on this week, you know?
Yep.
Or I have, you know, I still work full-time jobs. If it's a case where, look, man, like, I literally cannot afford this. If you can't afford a specific rate for me, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to respecting yourself and your time, which I struggled with a lot early on. Like,
we've had this conversation.
We have
a lot before, and I think that, like, as soon as you start looking at the product you provide as a product rather than your personality, to take away Keen from Ace of Spuds. Like that,
you're commoditize. I don't know what you're turning yourself into a commodity.
100%, but 100%. But that
really hard to wrap your head around it.
Totally, 100%. I get that, and like, especially because a lot of what we do is rooted in our personality, just kind of amped up. That to almost monetize it in a sort of a modern, to put a modern vernacular to it, like to monetize that sort of, it's still us. Like, this is how we would chat if we were sitting in a bar, or there's no cameras, there's no lights or whatever, you know. And we've had this almost this exact conversation, the same inflections and everything, man. Like, you know, but yet still, like, we need to separate that fucking Capcom, be it Bandai Namco, be it ArcSys, be it whoever, they want that. They want this conversation on top of their game in relation to their game. So how much is this conversation worth? Like, you know, how much is fucking you being hype? Like, you know?
An easy way to look at it, and we've talked a lot about how to, you know, improve as a new commentator, how to get in, mistakes, things you can do. So, like, and we're both extremely supportive of new faces in the scene.
Fuck
and
yes, DM me.
But I like when the cookie crumbles, if you watch Capcom Cup and let's just say that this block And it could be, okay, let's Evo. You're watching Evo pools and there's 2 blocks on at the same time. One of the blocks has Johnny 69 and Tony 420 that you've never heard of commentating, and the other block has Yipes and Jabbers. Which one are you watching? What is the ratio of viewers? The ratio of viewers there is probably hundreds of thousands to dozens. That is so much revenue on the Twitch stream alone that you need to understand that regardless of where you are, whether you're Johnny 69 or you're Yipes, wherever you sit in that scale, you have a value.
But that's it. That's exactly it. And I mean, I think the thing of like, if I'm doing a Twitch live stream and I buy overlays, right? And if I pay $100 for my overlay, just for fucking this, exactly what, and fucking shout outs to Don Quixote, man. Fucking lady made this entire thing from everything, like, you know. Shout outs. Her name is definitely in the fucking info of all of the YouTube videos, so go
nice.
check it out, like, whatever. But like, if I value her input into this, obviously she doesn't know what we talk about. She doesn't, like, she is just almost like a third party in this, right? But she is incredibly valued, right? That shit wouldn't look half as nice or as pretty in the exact same way that shit wouldn't sound half as nice if AceofSpuds isn't on my Street Fighter fucking show. Like, you know?
It's not even just that, right? Gameplay on its own doesn't tell a story.
Correct.
Tournaments have stories. And a part of your job as a commentator is to be able to explain that.
100%.
You know?
100%, man. Like, you know, like...
So without that, a tournament is a bunch of... Without commentary, a tournament is a series of matches that make infinitely less sense. You know?
Totally.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, like our job is not to explain to you the gameplay. It's to tell a story that's deeper than, you know.
It's in part, you know, it's like part what's going on the screen, what's going on with the players, what's going on with the bracket, how they all interlink together, what story that forms. And, you know, quite often I think, especially for me, when I was in the stage of like devaluing my own, like what I brought to the table, I wasn't, when I wasn't seeing what I brought to the table, I wasn't looking at it like that, you know?
I mean,
once you realise that like commentary is really, really ties together the visual presentation of a tournament, that was what made me click and be like, no, hang on, what I'm doing is worth something.
Of course, man. It's the reason why every fucking major, pick any game. I'm not even talking about video games. Pick any sport. Pick any fucking darts tournament. Have a play-by-play and analysis commentators, like, you know, like the shit that we do is valuable, like just purely on the value it is added across the fucking medium of visual, like watching sports, like, you know, like we add shit to a broadcast.
A stupid like comparison, I thought, like, you know, I don't know if you watch much soccer, but when the Premier League was going on during COVID and there was nobody allowed into the stadium,
right,
their viewership dropped, like, I don't know the number, but drastically,
right? Because
do you know how difficult it is to get somebody to watch like a stream or a live TV program of an empty soccer pitch?
Right.
There is no crowd background noise.
Yeah.
Now, imagine that, but instead of the background noise, you remove the commentators.
There's I'll send you a documentary after, but I remember watching one about just commentary as a medium,
as an art,
and there was like, what fuck, as an art, Jesus,
it is an art. Come on.
I mean, we work hard, but fucking, there was this guy that like one of the, like, we're talking like 1940s, 1950s or whatever, baseball commentator, and shout outs to baseball.
And he's coming up to the bat now, and we're ready to take off.
Dude, I'm not even joking. Baseball has so much downtime. Those commentators have to be the best in the fucking world, man. They're talking about that guy's surname and where that came from. They're like looking up
kind
like
of wood is made out of
dude,
stuff. Yeah.
straight up, they have to generate stories out of literal fuck all, right? Like,
Yeah.
but this guy wanted to do an experiment to see if regular people that aren't following the leagues or whatever could understand the game without commentary. And they probably like it was on one TV channel with no commentary, just the game and the crowd noises or whatever.
Yeah.
And
for baseball or specifically baseball? Was
baseball.
It?
I think it was baseball. I'd send you this shit after.
Yeah, I'd love to. It sounds interesting.
Nothing. Like, no viewers. Like, as soon as people like tune in and be like, what the fuck is this shit, man? Like, you know, like tune out straight away. Like, it was just all silence and stuff. Like, so there is what we do holds value in terms of the overall broadcast. Now,
it's engagement more than anything. It's
exactly
it.
It
It really
is exactly it. Like, with the sugar on top of your pancake, like, you know, the pancake
Nobody
without
wants to eat a dry pancake with the fucking syrup on it.
fair, but if you eat sugar on its own, you're kind of saying, Jesus Christ, man, like, you know, give me a pancake for it, like, you know. But yeah,
it's funny. Like as I was saying earlier. A few weeks ago, I went to a Six Nations rugby match. My girlfriend brought me as a present.
Yeah.
And I had to physically, like literally, consciously, because she doesn't know much about rugby, stop myself from explaining the game to her as it went on.
You're such a commentator. You're such a commentator.
Sorry, I know that's annoying. And then for a while she was like, no, actually, what is happening there? What is that? I would like to understand more. And then after a while she was like, okay, shut up, okay. You know, much more polite than that because she is lovely and, you know, kind all the time.
Your girlfriend is talking. Yeah. Totally. No, I mean, I think, and like, do you know what, Spud? You should DM C4 tonight after we've finished recording this podcast, and you should say commentary is valuable in terms of an overall broadcast, because he doesn't agree with us.
What?
Yep. As one of the best commentators of Dragon Ball, like globally. I
don't understand.
Globally, he's like, no, it's all about the players. Like, you know, like we would be nothing without the players. And I'm like, I see what you're talking about, but players can't talk like we can. Like, you know?
Absolutely not, because it's the players. Okay, so the players create.
If I had his fucking Facebook now, I'd ring him right now.
Players create the events, the scenarios, and the exchanges between them in the tournament. But all of those are meaningless points on a map without a storyteller to draw the lines between them.
Fair. Like, I mean,
they're fucking equally important. We would be nothing without players.
Fair.
But tournaments that the players play in would not be nearly as engaging or watchable without commentators. You know?
You're on my side of the camp here.
I'm so fucking adamant in this because I spent so many years putting myself down, thinking I was worth nothing, and when I clicked, I'm gonna blow smoke up my own ass because, like, commentating is hard. And it is valuable, and I think it's as valuable as players. It's as valuable as TOs. It's as valuable as bracket runners. There isn't a single part that's more valuable because nothing works without all of the rest.
Fucking A.
If you remove any piece from the puzzle, nothing works.
Gears.
You need all of it.
Gears and a mechanism, man. Like, you know, like...
Exactly.
Fucking A, man. I don't care how many teeth the fucking TO has on his gear. Like, you know, like, I mean, his shit doesn't work without the players' shit. Like, you know.
And I guarantee you, if you go to any TO that runs a major and you ask them what are they always in short supply of in terms of you know, human manpower, they're always going to tell, in my experience, they're going to tell you two things: bracket runners and commentators. That's it. It's always one or the other or both.
Fair.
You know.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. AceofSpuds Twitter is like right down under his name there. Hit him up. He's about to help you out. Oh man, Jesus Christ, man! Just talking to my lovely lady about like what I'm doing now. It's such an awkward conversation to have with people that don't get it. Like,
Right.
Sorry, please let me preface this by saying that, like, she is fantastically supportive of everything that I do. But when I come down, have a cigarette when I'm drunk, and I'm like, Dad, baby, it's very.
This is work.
I'm just, I need to go back to work, like, you know, like, you know, it doesn't seem to make sense yet. Like, it's always a funny idea, right? Like,
Yeah. Concept to wrangle your head around, right?
yeah. Shit, I don't know, man. Like,
thankfully mine was quite easy. Amy was, oh yeah, you're doing something Saturday, right? I was like, yeah, Sam's got a podcast. I'm going to go on it, and she was like, cool.
Coming. All right, and now we're back into broadcast ready.
Oh no, I've given you a secret weapon to use against me. That's been fucking recorded.
That's it, man. And do you know, Drift pulls out the weirdest fucking clips, man. Like, you know, like, because obviously, like, it's fucking 2 hours long or 2.5 hours.
I don't remember
whatever, like,
half of what we were saying.
Dude, he pulls out a clip. Like, there was a thing of, like, I was talking about celebrities in our industry, and it doesn't really exist because we're not
Right.
actual celebrities, like, right? But I was saying, like, that when I started in the industry, Spag and Bubsy were celebrities to me. And what I said was, if there was a magazine that said Spag broke up with his missus, I would buy
Then
that.
you're a celebrity.
I would buy that magazine. No, like, as in, like, you know, like, I'm into this world and I'm into the.
Right. Okay. So you're at the stage already where that would, I see.
Of
what you mean.
course, so it would totally interest me, like, you know, like, and that's what
Yeah,
Twitter.
if I went to the shop and there was a magazine saying "Yipes top 10 tips for being a scream lord."
Right. Okay. You buy that magazine, right?
Oh yeah.
But I said that literally. If there was a magazine that Spag broke up with his missus, I would buy it. And fucking Drift fucking clipped that out. Like, snipped it down, put it up on the Fuzzy Guard fucking Twitter account, and was like, "Yo, Spag, what do you think of this?" Like, you know.
Oh my god!
Like, I
That's
work
really
with
putting someone on blast.
I work with Spag regularly, like, you know, and now it's weird. Like, now it's weird. Like, you know. Crazy.
I love everyone I have worked with in the industry. I have no complaints or qualms or reservations.
But that fucker that you worked with at that.
And don't get me started. That fucking Sam guy. I was the only Irish commentator. Who the fuck does he think?
Dude, first ever Irish commentator to commentate Evo.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
First
I mean,
ever.
I DM'd you at the time saying you were doing the country proud, man. I was very proud of you. It was well deserved as well.
Dude,
It was well deserved.
I was working fucking hard. Like, I still
well
am.
deserved.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, that was a game changer. Like, you know, because it was like, majors are great. Like, you know, and like, you know, you do European shows or whatever, but like, fuck, dude, like, there's
The World
something
Cup is
like,
different.
that's it.
You know?
Like, exactly, like Vegas, literally Vegas, like, you know, it changes your perspective on shit, like, you know, that, like, when fucking Johnny fucking Swagnamite 420 wants you to do his fucking show, like, you know, you're like, well, this is my rate, and if he's like, oh, the budget's tight, you're like, well, I'm not gonna do it then, bro. Like, you know, like, whereas, like, pre-Evo, I might have gone out with Park to fucking, you know, fly to his show and shit, and, like, shout out to Johnny Swagnamite, man. Like, you know, he's working really hard to get his shit, he's approaching the right people and that sort of shit, but, like, fucking, dude, I can't afford to take a weekend off now. Like, you know, to just do your local. Like, and like, fuck, dude, I really want to preface this by saying, like, do your local. Like, and ask those people, like, like straight up, like, you know, I've heard more about shit in like Africa than I ever had as a spectator, just for people asking me would I do their show for 50 pesos or whatever. I don't know.
I was actually invited, all expenses paid, to a country in Africa right before COVID. Okay, and I'm not gonna name the country because I don't want to like upset or offend anybody. But having never traveled to that continent, I want it like, what's it like for a tourist in this country? And the information online was, don't leave your hotel, and while moving from the airport to the hotel, you will need some kind of armed escort.
Armed.
Armed. They recommended armed security while not in specifically tourist areas, which would be the airport or the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck,
So I kind of had reservations about this.
Understandably.
No, I had assurances from the organisers. Look, this has already been taken care of. It's all paid for. We're getting everyone from the airport to the venue with our own transport, all this kind of stuff.
Fair.
So I was humming and hawing about it. And I didn't go in the end because it was just COVID was literally about that airports were starting to lock down.
Yeah.
And then it was literally lined up where there was a genuine concern that if I went, there would not be a plane back.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't go in the end. And do you know what? I think I really regret it. That I didn't get the chance. No, I don't know. Because to me, like, I don't know.
You see,
it's just always stuck in my mind as like, I'll go to absolutely any event that I can go to.
Of course. We all would. We all would.
Sometimes there's, whether it be, okay, that could have just been me getting spooked by Facebook Karens. That's what that could have been, right? But it could be something as simple as, I can't afford it this month if this rate isn't met. I have another event this week. There's so many things that, like...
Sorry, just industry talk right now. Like, were they paying your rate? Like, were they...
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
at the time, my rate was quite low. So it was like, you don't
have to say it. Once your hotel and accommodation is sorted, everything
hotel accommodation, and then a few little bob for my time.
Yeah.
That's all. But what I'll say is that there's infinity things that could be going on in your life as a person, in commentary and outside of commentary, that I think a trap a lot of people fall into is they feel obligated to, like, I'll do your event, that if you can't do an event, don't feel guilty. It just happens. Because I've talked to people who are newer to this, and a lot of them are like, I got asked to do this thing and now I couldn't do it and I've ruined my chance, and no. Things happen, man.
Dude.
And I think it's a big part of, in anything where you're selling yourself or anything where you're trying to promote yourself, but this goes for, like, in your normal job as well. You have to be able to say no to people, do you know?
Fucking A, dude.
I'm basically just echoing what you're saying, that, what you're on about is specifically if a rate can't be met. I've had similar experiences where it hasn't always been a rate issue, and sometimes it's okay to say no. If you're not, like, comfortable at a specific event, anything like that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
I think a lot of people fall into the trap of, I have to do everything that's offered to me. I've had people tell me that they're,
I understand, because I was that fucking hungry guy that would do literally everything and go broke at home.
Yeah.
To fucking fly
it all fucking ties back to take care of yourself. And, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't be a good commentator if you're not, taking care of yourself, number one, as well.
Fair, absolutely.
You can't be good at anything if you don't take care of yourself.
No, 100%, man. But, like,
love yourself.
God bless the managers and bosses that I've had over the last 6 years that have allowed me to go to these shows. Or even if they didn't, man, I was like, this is more important than your job is to me. Like, and like, go do an event and have to come back home and hand out CVs as soon as I arrive home, because that job ain't there for me anymore. Like, know. But even, like, with the online sphere, we have to find roommates that are like comfortable with, like, and like so I've done a lot of shows in Asia and America that your time zone gets fucked up, that you do like a show at 9 a.m. in the morning, and like you're not about to be tired at 9 a.m. like, or like visibly tired. Like, I'm fucking, let's go, ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the fucking thing, as if it's my fucking 4 p.m. Then I do a European show, and then I do an Asian show, which is fucking starting at 1 a.m. in the morning, and exactly the same. I need that show to look exactly the same as my shit that I started at 9 a.m. like, you know? And like, I need to explain that to my roommates, and like, you know, people living across the hall from me. I'm like, I'm about to be allowed at 4 a.m. I, like, you know, I don't know if you can get with that, but I'll buy you a bottle of vodka. Like, I don't know, like, you know.
If I have to do X, Y, or Z at this time, I'm going to be up an hour before doing a warm-up, and I apologise. Like, I've had the similar conversations. Last few majors now, I've been lucky that Amy came with me, so she's not, well, she's used to me roaring and screaming at random hours of the night, you know?
Sure.
Stumbling into things. I sleepwalk.
No way.
Like,
no way.
I even eat
full
while I'm
blown.
asleep.
What?
Full blown. I'll eat an entire, like, I'll eat like 10 tuck biscuits and wake up the next morning covered in crumbs with no memory.
No way. Yeah?
Yeah. It's fucking bizarre. It doesn't have. Do you know what? I feel like a fucking broken record. I've been taking care of myself a lot better recently, and that actually stops it. It's another thing where, like, the worse shape and kind of mental shape I'm in, the worse it gets.
So when you say taking care of yourself, what does that mean?
Just mentally and physically.
Right. Okay. So you go to the gym or whatever, and that relates to your sleepwalking.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know how it works, but that was the only thing they said to me. They were like, "Yeah, eat and sleep better."
That's crazy, man, and like that kind of spins onto mental health, because I know you've had a now, and like, please excuse me, man, if I fucking put my foot in shit, like, and I don't want to offend, like, and I'm coming at this purely curious, like, you know, and like, so please, if I say something wrong, fucking call me up on it straight away. But like,
I know we're about to get real, but sorry, Amy has just texted me asking if I want Speedos as she's on the way home.
Oh, so I
need to acquire the taco fries, so just bear with me a moment.
No problem at all, no problem, bro. But yeah, mental health is obviously something, and like, so I recently got into counselling and therapy and that sort of stuff, and I found, just from exploring my own sort of psyche and that with this professional, that like, performance is just such a weird world, that like, any of the performers, like you said earlier on, like you said it earlier on the podcast, that this is a performative art that we do, like, you know,
it is,
like, that almost, I know I'm not saying always, but the majority of the time, musicians, actors, commentators, dancers, like, all of these people have this medium to express themselves because of something, like, you know, like, like, I feel like if you came from a totally comfortable family background or whatever, you'd be,
well,
I don't know, an accountant. I don't know.
It's a commonly said thing, right? The artist in most anguish is the best artist.
Sure. I mean,
you know, it's
Taylor Swift's breakup albums, man. Like, you know, like,
never get back together. Yeah, I know.
Like, it leads to better shit. Like, man, like, you know.
It is.
But you've had like a constant, and I mean, like, fucking tell me to shut the fuck up here, bro. But like, you've been quite public with it, like, you know, like you've explained what's been going on Twitter and that sort of stuff, and like, you know, that you've had these struggles or whatever. And I even donated to the Patreon of you, like, getting to that sort of shit, because you were pulled out of work and stuff. Do you want to go into that? Look, if you don't, it's fucking cool.
No, I'm more than happy to talk about it. So, the basic background is, when I was in university, I became a drug addict. Pretty hard drugs.
Get the fuck out of here.
So that would have been...
Give me 2 seconds. I'm so
That's fine.
sorry. What's going on?
That's fine.
Sorry.
No need to apologise. Okay,
so You were like mad drug addict, yeah?
Yeah, ecstasy, cocaine, a lot more things that maybe people, PCP, which is commonly
Fuck.
known as, yeah, there's a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of spiraled for a few months. I was lucky that a couple of scenarios kind of came up that really were like slap in the face, wake up call. This is fucking an awful route.
Sure.
So I did get myself out of it.
Do you wanna
A lot.
do you wanna go into those scenarios? Do you wanna explain what actually woke you up, or no?
For me, no, because just by the nature of being involved in a world of illegal drugs, it's not
Sure.
stuff that is public that
Of course,
I feel
of
comfortable
course.
talking about.
No,
you know?
man,
I
absolutely.
did things I'm not proud of.
Sure.
Oh.
Sure.
But these are things I've kind of reconciled with myself through therapy and things like that. But expressing those particular things to the wider world is still difficult, you know.
Of course.
But yeah, I eventually did get the wake up call. It took quite a while. I think one thing that was super key for me, and it's going to sound so cliched, I when the point came where suicide was the path I was on, I actually survived one attempt.
No fucking
yeah.
way, dude. Man,
I
shout outs, man.
almost involuntarily tried to overdose
Fuck,
on Xanax that I'd been prescribed. So
Christ,
that was something that I kind of my even my parents didn't know about that for a long time. I was very kind of ashamed of that. That was something that because I was in college in a different county. I was able to go to a hospital there. I had a part-time job. I had my own money, kind of sorted out on my own. Didn't want to talk about things like something just clicked. I left college in the middle of third year. No, I finished my third year exam, sorry, and I think I was repeating one module because I missed it the previous year. So I was just basically I was in college, the little one semester extra. I just left before the exams came up. I went back home to Cork and I just told my parents that I was suicidal, that the stuff had not gone the way I had hoped. I went to my GP, and so that for anyone who's not in Ireland, that's just their general practitioner. That's your family doctor.
Yeah, your community doctor.
So I went to him, and in fairness to him, I can't sing his praises enough because he was my doctor for most of my life. Said go home, and come back in tomorrow. And within 24 hours, I was put into emergency daycare for a psychiatric hospital. So I was in there kind of maybe 4 or 5 hours a day with the nurses, doing therapy, doing sessions with the doctor. Was starting some very slight medication, seeing how I reacted. Doing group therapy, all these kind of things, The next kind of few months, and it's something, other people close to me in my life have had similar experiences, and even talking to them, not one of us can be, it's difficult. The next couple of months are fairly hazy.
Okay.
Because I had my first, what's called a psychotic episode. So,
right.
Or a schizophrenic episode.
Damn.
So,
okay.
Common misconception.
I'll be real here. As soon as I hear the word schizophrenic, I don't understand that word. But
that's okay, because most people don't. And do you know what? I'm going to use an extreme example here now. If you said something that was gender or racially insensitive,
right?
But because you didn't know and the person corrected you and you were like, "Whoa, I'm so sorry," it's like that. I would never get upset for somebody saying something like, you're arbitrarily saying that someone's been a bit schizo. I'd be like, "Look, man, I know you're only messing, but that's not cool."
Right, okay.
I would never be like, "Oh my god," but, I would. So I would rather you make the mistake, if I'm then able to be like, no, Sam, maybe say this instead. And if you're open to that, then I'm open to you saying whatever you want.
100%. I always take the stance that I'm a fucking idiot in the majority of conversations that I make. So I don't understand. I would never in my life try to offend you, but if I don't understand and you're offended by my idiocy, I also get that, but I get that, but please let me know here. So when you say,
give me 1 second, I want to just unlock the door so they can get in.
No problem.
Right, sorry about that.
No problem at all, man. No, so basically what I was saying was that the term schizophrenic episode, I don't actually No, so obviously, like, if I'm equivocating it to my friend, he's going through an absolute shit time right there. Like, that's kind of where I'm relating it here in my mind. Like, so can you break that down a little bit? Or
Objectively, it's a shit time, but subjectively, it can be anything. Right. So, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a while. So, like, during that kind of first major episode I had, like the deep, like, it's like, so the misconception. Sorry, I'll start. The misconception most people have about schizophrenia is that it's multiple personality disorder, which it's not. Right. That's an entirely separate condition.
Yeah,
that's called
dissociative identity disorder.
DID. Yeah, and they're what's called is it congenital? No, that's from, I don't remember the word, but they're conditions or diseases that they're very often found together, but they are separate conditions.
Right.
So, and again, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't have suffered from DID.
Okay.
But from how I understand it, it's that if you have DID, there's a very high, if not certain, chance that you're schizophrenic or have had schizophrenic episodes.
Okay.
But most comorbid, I think is the word. But
all fingers are thumbs, but not all thumbs are fingers. Is that kind of where we're at here now? Yeah?
Exactly. So only a small portion of people with schizophrenia develop DID. But most people with DID have schizophrenia, so it's a common mistake. So for me, there's no multiple personality. I even make jokes sometimes about it in an effort to kind of make people feel less freaked out and serious, because a lot of people still, when I tell them what happened, what I had, it's a scary word to a lot of people.
Sure, I mean, but like I think any sort of big word like that, when it comes to mental health, immediately, and like. Look, I am only coming at this from the fucking idiot side here now, and I don't want you to take offense, but fucking psycho killer, fucking, serial killer, fucking DID sort of shit, that's sort of like the initial sort of flash alarm bell, obviously I know you, and I'm not about to fucking cancel our fucking dinner date or whatever, but schizophrenia, I think, just has that. And look, I know fuck all about that shit, but and I want to preface this by saying I'm an idiot. I do not understand that shit, but it's the word, it's almost like a buzzword for violence or aggression or that sort of shit,
so it's a totally common kind of falsely held belief. I don't know the exact statistics off the top of my head. Once upon a time I did, because there was a time where I went down a path of I wanted to know about every paper, every stat, every number, because my, up until that point, very empirical and factual driven mind was struggling to comprehend how it itself had broken.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no, somebody who's currently suffering from schizophrenia or having a schizophrenic episode is less likely to be in any way violent than an average member of the population. Fair. And they're more likely to be the victim of a violent crime.
No,
mostly due to misunderstanding.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because they don't understand. A lot of the times, you wouldn't understand where you are or what you're doing, and you're putting yourself in harm's way.
Yeah.
No rate is
fucking way, really.
Yeah, and this, I really I think it's I know there's, I don't know the exact number, but people, I don't know what the numbers either of them are, but it would be kind of like that. There is quite a considerable increase.
Jesus Christ, man.
It's really, to be honest, for me, that's the part that I suppose suffers me the most, because it's it's like survivor's guilt. I came out the other end, but I almost, because I met people in hospital, and people all, there's all kinds of people who don't get the support I got, and sometimes I kind of get survivor's guilt about it in that way, But that's something I've had to overcome as well. And just the other, I know I keep saying there is a difference between being schizophrenic and having a schizophrenic episode. So broadly speaking, there's kind of three kind of situations you can end up in. For the very unfortunate people, they can have a schizophrenic episode or a psychotic episode. There's similar, I don't know are they the exact same, but where you don't ever come out of it. You just are schizophrenic for the rest of your life.
Right. So that's almost like the flipping of the fucking page or whatever. Like, yeah, okay.
There's people who will have intermittent episodes. They could have weeks or months where they're totally fine, and then hours, days. You know, it can be almost random where they're not okay. Where I kind of was like that for months as I kind of came out of it.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of at the state where. So I haven't suffered from like a major psychotic episode or a hallucination or anything like that in maybe 5 years. It's been quite a long time.
Okay. That's
so
good.
I would still have the lingering effects of kind of like I can get extremely agoraphobic, like large spaces, lots of people, crowds.
Fuck.
Like the smaller my bedroom, the more comfortable I am in it, which is weird.
Right.
Yeah. So. You know, anxiety, panic attacks, difficult. Like there's times where there might be. It doesn't like, and I'm saying this from a place where, thanks to therapy and the care and kindness of my partner Amy and my family and my friends and even friends like you, Sam, to just listen to me. I've gotten to a place where I'm not over, but I've come through the other side of the vast majority of this. So I'm able to kind of look back at how it was. There were times where I could not leave the house for days at a time.
Fuck, dude, man. Like, I respect your struggle. I don't know you personally, like, or like obviously I know you, but like I don't understand your struggle and shit. But man, I respect you to fucking high heaven, man. Like shit, dude. Like, you know, I mean, even like fucking when we used to go out, like when we both lived in Cork or whatever. Fuck, dude, I had no idea, man, that you were going through that shit. Like, you know. Like, and obviously, like, it was 3 years ago. Like, that obviously was right in the middle of you still getting on that path of recovery and, like, kind of fucking, so, dude, man, I respect you, man. Fucking Jesus Christ, man. That's fucking crazy, man. You're a strong motherfucker.
It's holy fucking hard to talk about it, like, and I've talked about it so many times with so many people, and it's a different part of remembering it gets me every time. You know, kind of get, you know.
I hope you don't mind, like, talking about this publicly, like, you know.
That's what I'm trying to get to. Because of that, like, feeling that there's, like, that I know because I've met them, that there's so many people out there with this similar experience who cannot express themselves in a way that's meaningful. And, like, that's just, like, I can't imagine something, like, for me as somebody who, like, what I want to do. If you asked me tomorrow what I want to do for the rest of my life, I would commentate full time.
Yeah.
I want to perform. Like, if you were like wave a magic wand, and you can become anything you want. That's what I would pick. That is how much I love, if not commentating, then hosting or presenting. You know, being there, the act of teaching, the act of learning with people. I fucking adore it.
Right.
So. Having that compete with agoraphobia and anxiety attacks and panic attacks, that shit was fucking tough. So for me, the idea that there's people with this condition who never get to express themselves meaningfully to loved ones or to anybody again, I can't imagine anything more painful, you know?
Sure.
So because even though it might only be a very small number of people, because I know there are people like that and I've met a few of them, I almost feel like a responsibility to talk about it because I happen to be a very articulate person.
Right.
You know, I'm not religious. I don't believe in a god or a central power or being. But if this was one thing that made me for a split second go, this kind of feels like something I was meant to do, you know?
Yeah.
Like not like in a grand religious way, but just that I've been given this opportunity is a better way to do it.
Okay.
And I kind of feel a responsibility to do it, which is why I kind of try to be as open as possible about it.
No, 100%, man. Jesus, man. Fucking shout out to everybody who fucking doesn't have your fucking suave or joie de vivre or whatever and that sort of shit. And like
I know it's going to sound cliched, but like if any of the stuff we're talking about, like, you know, it affects someone listening or someone you know or care about, like, talk to someone or talk to them. Like,
Fucking A.
it's cliched, man. It's fucking cliched. But if the people who had listened to me hadn't listened to me, I might not be here, you know. So
Fuck, dude, man.
I just really want, just really, man, just and I know I said man, which is you know, it's a gender term, and I was addressing this to everybody, you know, men, women, non, whoever, any or any gender, race, whatever.
The sentiment is more important. Man.
You know, as I can only speak personally as a man, and lads, we're fucking shit at this. We're like, I think our generation, me and you, Sam, you know, late 20s, early 30s, that kind of, we're getting a lot better, but we're still pretty fucking shit. Like, we need to get better. This, like, and this isn't like me, like, this is something that, like, is a fault of me and a fault of you and a lot of us, right? Me included, that this conversation is big and meaningful and deep. But it shouldn't be, in the sense that we as men should be able to do this more fucking often, you know?
You're so fucking correct, dude. Like, that's literally like said, the one going through my head. Like, shit.
I really mean this, though. Every man, woman, child, wherever you are in the world, man, if you're not feeling good, just reach out to you. Like, I can, like, think about it this way. If somebody you loved and cared about was suffering, you, like, instinctually, you just immediately, I want to help, I want to do something. Those people feel the same about you. You just need to, you know, reach out to the person who's suffering. You know, that's.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy the way I equivocate it. Like, so I've had a struggle with mental health, but it was only kind of anxiety and that sort of stuff.
But so don't say only. Don't say only. You never belittle your experiences or compare it to somebody else's. I'll never understand your anxiety, so don't compare it.
Fuck, dude.
Because what you're doing then is you're putting yourself down. Don't do that. I think,
for me, and like, I'll be real here, what you went through sounds fucking way more than the shit that I get fucking gloomy.
But there's people currently going through things I could never possibly imagine how bad they are.
Right.
So I think comparing your suffering or your success to other people, do you ever compare your success to other people? No. Yeah, so don't compare your suffering to other people. Neither are competition.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. No, I get that, like, but like, shit, I can't even remember my point, man. That.
Oh, sorry.
Not at all, man. You hit me with some fucking real fucking wisdom, dude. Like, fuck, dude, man. Like, you know, genuinely, man, I respect you so much, man, for getting on here and fucking talking. And I appreciate shit, like, you know,
giving me a position to talk about it, because that's important. No, it is fucking important too. It is. Do you know? It is.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I think.
Look, if one person watches this podcast that I'm in, and that one person in 2 years is like, fuck, I remember that one time that funny Irish guy said, look, maybe I should just ask somebody, and they do, then this entire conversation is worth more than you'll ever know.
Holy fuck.
And you facilitated it. So you have to adopt this. If you want to change how we as a species think, in this case, we're talking about how we as a species think about mental health, because there is still a lot of stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Even just facilitating that change is so important, you know?
Fuck, dude.
Really is.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? Right. I mean, maybe, the internet sphere, but I went down to, like, the buddy's house. It was his fucking 25th birthday the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I had a therapy session the night before.
Isn't it?
So I said, look, I'm probably going to be late, because therapy session was late, and sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to kind of break down everything and kind of process shit, and sometimes I can't sleep, like, for, you know, till 2 or 3 o'clock, because, you know, your brain just be spinning about shit, like, you know. And so I said, look, I'll be down in the afternoon. Bro lives in Kilkenny, I live in Dublin, like, you know. So I was like, I'll probably get the afternoon bus. And so that brought up the conversation with, like, 2 of my, like, best mates in the whole world, like, and, like, I could tell them absolutely anything. And as soon as they're like, so what's the story with therapy, man? What's that like? You know, I just started like, so this is the crack. Like, you can almost see him kind of as if I'm talking about something fucking dodge, dude. Like, you know, fucking
Yeah,
shit, dude. Like,
you're it's, you know,
like
it's like you're passing dodgy fucking Bluetooth things on your phone.
yeah,
at the back of the
yeah,
school bus
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
vibe.
Like, you know,
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
I
yeah.
sleep with a fucking anime body pillow, man. Like, you know, like that's the sort of same.
Don't judge.
But you know that sort of almost like, yeah, really, and you're like, yeah, bro. Like, I mean, you know, like, and like I didn't go to therapy with a condition, and I thanked it for that. Like, you know,
But you don't need one.
I was sad. I was sad for more than 50% of my life. So I was like, that needs to be sorted, because the other fucking 40% or 30% of my life is fucking great. And I would like to sort out this other part. Like, you know. So that was my therapy fucking motive, or like that sort of shit. Like, but yeah, I mean, talking to other people that, like, from going to therapy and talking to licensed fucking therapists, shit, man, these boys could probably do with a couple of sessions themselves. Like, you know, as soon as you start talking about stuff like, so what's your relationship with anger like? You know, I never thought about that question until a therapist asked me. And then you start thinking about people who get fucking angry and what's your relationship with anger like? You know, say that as a fucking human, and people go, what are you talking about, man? This ain't no Jesus religious shit. And I'm like,
I guarantee you, eventually that question made a lot of sense.
Of course. But that makes so much sense, because, like, so the whole thing about, like, anger is a thing that happens to everybody. Everybody gets angry.
Absolutely everybody.
It's how it then affects everything else in your life. That's your relationship with anger. Fucking, I get pissed off at stupid shit. Some shit bangs my toe, I'm angry now. Like, you know. Whereas if I then go and make, what was it my counsellor said, and God bless this man, he's incredible. He said, if you wake up angry, do you make an angry cup of coffee? Do you eat an angry bowl of cornflakes? Like, you know. And I was like, shit, dude, he's so right. He's so right. Like, you know. Because you don't. You make a cup of coffee. The anger comes from you.
Yeah, you're consciously letting the anger have an influence on anything else.
Of
and
course.
Learning how to control what it influences is fundamental, you know?
Totally, 100%. Like, you know, but the weirdest thing is then when it starts, you think about that, anger is a very easy emotion to kind of break down into that. Sadness, little bit more difficult, but on the same sort of vein. That if you wake up sad, do you have a sad cup of coffee? No, you don't. Like, you know, it's a little bit weirder to kind of detach yourself from your own sadness. But then when you go into happiness, when you go into love, when you go into that sort of stuff, like,
harder to quantify.
100%. Anger is a much easier thing. But once you develop, like, or once you can establish the relationship that you have with these emotions, it's much easier to
it's like you're building a tool set and a map network that you can follow in future, so that you can understand this again, you know?
Your combo path for your 2D fighters, you know?
You're learning a fucking combo that you can use to try and control, you know, not but it's not controlled, because control is the wrong word. It's to have a healthier relationship with these emotions, because you can never control them, because everybody gets angry, like you said, everybody gets sad, everybody gets you know, everybody sometimes feels apathy, everybody feels anxious, you know, you can only control your reaction and your relationship with them. And if you can learn to develop that in a healthy way, like, it'll change your, like, it'll fucking change your life, to be honest.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
For
100%.
me, it was a necessity, so I had to do it.
Right.
But by doing that, it feels like, you know, it feels like somebody has touched me on the forehead and imparted, oh Jesus, the secret, I fucking got everybody here now, come here and listen to me now, you know? It's just, it's, and I was the kind of person, like, I really, like, you know, really staunchly, like, empirical evidence, utter atheist, never believed in any kind of religious thing. I learned to meditate, and it took me a long time to get over my own initial barrier of this is fucking woo-woo, fluffy fluff nonsense. But when I did, I will genuinely say that it's always helped, but like now where I am, it's just as important as like medication or people around me or anything I do. Being able to, I don't look. I'm going to be honest. I haven't been doing it enough lately as I should, but it is just such a good way to kind of get yourself back into focusing on things that you have control over. Because I think where most in my like from my experience, like where most of these kind of like negative emotions come from is things worrying about things that you actually can't control. When you break it down like that, you would actually call yourself mad for doing it.
Dude,
like,
that's
you know?
the thing of our emotional part of our brain does not have very much contact with the logical part of our brain.
It's the monkey.
The monkey computer.
The monkey brain.
The monkey computer and the lizard.
Yeah.
Like, do you know this? Do you know this theory?
That you've got your the lizard is that I'm fucking hungry part.
The hunger and the sort of primal rage or the horniness,
exactly,
like,
the aggression. The computer is your logical center.
And the monkey is almost these sort of. Or wait, is it the monkey, the human, and the computer? Or no, I can't remember. But
we're talking about the part of your brain that makes you go. Pure like caveman. Yeah,
let's go, dude. Yeah.
And if you thought about it for 5 seconds, should you listen to that part of your brain or the part of your brain that's a computer? The question's pretty obvious.
Of course, but the problem is there's very little communication. So when you're when you're intensely angry or intensely horny or intensely happy, your logic brain could be screaming, "Don't have sex with that lady!" But your emotional brain overpowers that, and you end up having sex with that lady. Or you end up fighting that guy in that bar. Or you end up like
saying something you really shouldn't have said.
Or staying in bed all day because you're too sad to get out of bed. Or do you know, like fucking not eating for the day. Even though you like your logic brain screams at you. You're hungry.
The thing is,
eat food.
I think what's important for context there, because I know that you know this, and I know that I know this, but the thing here is the monkey part of your brain. It's not like we're demonizing it. It's not evil. It's just as important and essential as the other parts.
Of course.
And what you need to do is make that communication network active.
Right.
Let your brain work. Let the parts work together. Communicate with you. So when you're learning to create the relationship with anger and relationship with sadness, and what those relationships are also doing is creating relationships between the monkey and the computer.
Yeah.
So that the next time the computer is like, whoa, maybe the monkey will listen.
Absolutely. Let me find my 7-Up because the room is dark here. Give me a sec, because I went to go take a drink of it. It snuck in behind my PC. Hold on. I went to go take a drink of my drink, and it was like 80% straight liquor. So.
There's nothing worse. It's when you're not expecting it.
I was expecting some lovely citrus, orangey vibe, and it was just orange. And having a rough time. And I think these conversations are hugely important because, like, even like. As I said, I was talking to like my best buddies, and like I tell them, and so we have this rule that. Your friends when they're your shit the bed friends, right? That if you shit the bed, the first person you call, those are your lifelong friends, right? If you can imagine that thing about you accidentally shit a bed, who are the boys that you're like, bro, whatever you're doing right now, you need to bring me a fresh sheet. Like, bring me a blanket. I don't care. I am here. I need your help right now. Those are your real friends, right? And these boys are my shit to bed friends. Like, I can't think of anybody else, right? And I talk to him about therapy, about mental health or whatever. And you can see it. It's almost like a physical, like, oh, shit. What's he talking about, man? Like, and like, I'm just like, this is like, if I broke my leg and I was out of commission for 2 weeks, like, if I had the same injury mentally, that some shit just fucking snapped and I wasn't good and I needed 2 weeks to just fucking get together. It's not the same relationship that we have. Like, you know, like someone says, oh Jesus, he broke his leg. Oh God, leave him off. Christ, give him 3 weeks. Christ, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're fucking feeling down and you're feeling fucking down, dude, people are like, come on, man, get over it, will you? Come on, like, dude, just go into work on Friday. Just try Friday.
It will be grand.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah. But look, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I think we are getting better at it.
Definitely. With shit like BetterHelp and stuff like that you can just get counselling from your phone in your house.
Yeah. If you own a computer, a fucking laptop, pop up. It's like if you're listening to the way me and Sam are describing it, and we're talking like it's the greatest thing you can ever do, and it might cost you $30 for the first one to try it out. Can't think of a better value, to be honest.
Do it.
Or you could buy the new Street Fighter 5 Capcom Pro Tour skin pack.
Shit.
That one got you banned.
That'll make you feel better. That'll make you feel better in your soul. Straight up, dude.
But see, and this is something I really am really adamant about. I think that the best way to discuss and break down the stigma and remove the kind of bad things that people think is to show that like I can reflect on it with humor, make a joke of it in a healthy way.
Of course.
Do you know?
Of course. And the thing about your jokes about it, they're not deflecting from the fact that this is something that you're going through. It's almost for the viewer, or God, I'm so fucking broadcast now. Like,
I'm straight talking.
But like, you know, like from the observer, I think that's probably a better term. That, like, to kind of make it more palatable about the message that you're putting out for somebody who's listening to this, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's part to do with like it's the same thing. You're like the reaction you described from your buddies. You know, like a lot of people have that, and I do think, you know, this is something I think that might be. I don't want to be sounding like I'm fucking blowing smoke out my ass. I think humor and comedy is one of the most important parts.
100%. Are you fucking crazy, man? Yes.
That connects us all.
Don't ever apologise for that. 100%.
So based on that, if this is something that people don't understand or are afraid of, if I can show you that I have this, like a similar sense, I'm making you laugh and I'm personal with this or had experienced this, then it humanizes it.
Totally.
That's really what it humanizes it.
That's such an important word as well. Like, you know, just to humanize shit and like explain that you're not a fucking psychopath who's running around with a knife fucking slicing people up. You're also not some sort of godlike figure who people see on their fucking YouTube feeds, like, you know, like
right.
Do you know, like there's that balance in between that like, yes, you do these things, like you do commentate the biggest shows in fucking Europe, but you also feel fucking shit sometimes, like, you know, you wake up and you're just not in a fucking good mood, and there is that balance between those two. And for anybody watching that is fucking deified AceofSpuds, he is a fucking god, and I wanna state that he is a fucking god because I've met him in real life. I've had a drink with him. He is a fucking superhuman, but he is also a human. That 50% part of it, he is a human.
Really not. But thanks.
No, it's very, very important, and like this was kind of the root goal of this podcast, like especially in esports, it's so new and shit that we see people like, you know, any of these like Problem X or fucking.
It might be obvious as well, but like even a lot of my opinions of what we were talking about earlier about like healthy gaming and stuff that I've been doing incorrectly myself lately, you know. Sure. That I've been fucking up and I need to get better at. Like, a lot of that probably comes from the fact that I, through that therapy and stuff, learned that, like, there is no mental and physical health. It's just health.
Dude.
Like, no, but really, like...
Yeah.
Sure, they affect you differently. But, like, when you describe the feeling of anxious, or when I describe if I was having a panic attack, I describe it through physical symptoms. because that's,
Right.
you know, if you break your leg, you are at a much higher risk of getting depressed. If you
Fuck.
suffer a major injury,
Injury.
or you're like, you know, in a car crash, or any, your chance of obviously your chance of suffering depression goes up, because you know you've just been shown that your body can break. So your body and your mind, it is the same fucking system.
Shit.
So I think because that's something I really hold core to, that kind of everything I even think about, you know, everything, commentary, gaming, everything is influenced by that, you know.
Fuck.
And I think it's important as well that I'm able to, you know, like put my hand up and be like, no, I have not been doing enough lately, you know. I have been slipping, I have been, you know, fucking not taking care of myself.
That's
And
very important as well. Like,
if you can get to a stage where you can do that and be able to admit that to yourself, and you're probably going to have to admit it to yourself 20, 30, 40 times before you do it, but the process of getting there is important, you know.
yeah, 100%. I mean, you can kind of relate that back to any pursuit that you have in life. Like that, like everybody has this idea that it's about to be fantastic, and it's the thing of like taking that step to being fantastic, and be it like, you know, you want a promotion in work, or you want to quit your job to become a poet. Like it's the same mental fucking process.
What that comes back to, I think, and it's very, like, I want to say it's stereotyped, it's cliched. You find it all across like Western psychology, but you also find it all across like Eastern philosophy, like Buddhism, things like this. Uh, you know, just live in the present. It's so cliched and it's repeated so often.
So
But so
what does that
much,
mean? What does that
like,
mean now?
so, okay. If you, what is being anxious?
It's worrying about the future, isn't it? Like, is
You're
that
literally worrying about something that hasn't happened yet.
fair? Okay.
Most forms of sadness, grief, things like that are all about things that have already happened. Your actual relationship with your emotions is only actually ever happening in the immediate present.
Fuck.
Like there's no point worrying about what's going to happen in the future because it hasn't happened yet, and all you can do is focus on what you are able to, you know, influence right now. It's simple, but if you can get into that kind of thinking, you know, like rather than, oh my god, I'm not ready for X, Y, or Z tomorrow, is there anything you can do right now that will, in a healthy way, help you get ready for that thing tomorrow? Yes, I should try it. No, that's okay. That means it's out of my hands. I'm going to go and get a good night's sleep. And that process, you know, sometimes you might lead to, you know, situations that you never thought you'd, opportunities and things like this that you never thought you'd actually be able to get, because you're putting yourself in a present moment and you're being more open to what's going on right now rather than worrying about this and that and that and remembering this. It's freeing up, you know, your brain to be present, because the only thing you can ever experience is the present.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah. What's the fucking Master Uguay said that the fucking
yeah.
dude, does that feel like
It's pretty
minimizing
good.
your
Pretty good,
shit
because
into
we
like,
just watched Kung Fu Panda like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, Master Uguay, my guy.
dude, I feel like and I don't want to fucking minimize what you've said there, and it's very important. I just think, like, for my idiot brain, like, what this fucking shit that he said, like that the present is a gift or whatever, like, you know, that sort of shit, like it almost,
But it's true.
relates exactly to that
very
sort of
true,
shit, like, you know. But yeah, dude, you're right. Like, anxiety is about the future. Fucking grief and fucking sadness is about the past. Like, you know?
But and it's all almost sounds contrary. But when like if your relationship with those what you consider negative emotions is good, right? Then those emotions, in essence, while they might still feel negative, are still like a healthy and important part of being a human to feel.
Sure.
You're supposed to feel grief once you
course.
lose someone you care for. You're supposed to feel you're supposed to feel sad. You're supposed to feel happy. You know.
But what I was saying about, like, that sadness isn't the bad thing, anger isn't the bad thing, grief isn't the bad thing. It's how it spills out into the rest of your life is what.
Exactly.
Not maybe not the bad. I probably shouldn't equivocate it down to bad and good or whatever. But like, if it affects your relationship with your girlfriend or your dad or your work or whatever, that's when shit starts to become a problem. Like, and you can be sad without that affecting shit around
exactly,
you. Like,
exactly. You can process it without it spilling out, like you said, is a great way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and well, like we were saying, like the therapy and not even, it doesn't have to be therapy, just talking to anybody sometimes can be like the number one most important step to getting to that place.
Fucking
you know?
dude, Jesus Christ, man, fucking
really is,
just
like,
calling a fucking friend that I know isn't about to judge me. I could tell him fucking shit. I picked my nose and I ate that, man, and he said, "Fuck, dude, that sounds shit, man." Like, you know, he ain't about to be like, "Ugh, dude," like, you know, like, but. You know, like, just having...
He's a real friend if they say, yeah, I do it too.
The shit the bed friend, man. I'm telling you, bro. That is that's my fucking watershed level, right?
I like it.
The shit the bed friend that, like, and I want everybody to think about this. Like, if you shit the bed...
Literally.
Who are you calling? Who are you calling? Because if it's your mom is your shit the bed friend. I'm not joking. Like, and like embrace that. That's a fucking that's totally a great fucking thing. But if it's one of the boys who you work with, fucking that's incredible, man. Like, you know, you're shit the bed friends, man. Like, you know, because shitting the bed is such a fucking, like, it's such a it's an occasion, man. Like,
it would take me a good 20 minutes of just processing what I was like experiencing before I even rang anybody, I think.
Right. But like you know who you're ringing, right?
I do, but
fucking hey, dude.
Hey.
That whoever that person is the person in your life that you need to fucking that's your love fucking line right there. Yeah. Like, you know. Yeah, man, the shit to bed friend, it's such a perfect metric. I love it. Like,
I like it a lot.
Forever, man. But like, fucking Jesus, man, this is supposed to be esports stories from the bar, and we talked about such fucking incredible things, man. I love how if I had never been into video games, we would have never met. And now we've had such a fucking fantastic conversation. That's such a healthy conversation as well about, like, you know, get help. It's not fucking weird anymore. Like, you know, you're not a fucking weirdo because you went to fucking counselling anymore. Like, you know, like,
it never was.
I mean,
attitude was wrong. You know?
Exactly. That's the whole thing. But the stigma attached to that like, people are still inheriting from the sort of paternal or maternal figures in their life now. It's like, it's fucking weird. No, counselling or psychotherapy is only for psychos. Like, you know, and you're like, bro, maybe, you know, if you've unresolved issues, like, you know, let's resolve them. Like, look, you know.
I don't think it's possible to get to the age that we're at, like, you know, like we said, early 30s, late 20s, and not have unresolved issues. It is. I don't think it's possible as a human being. Which is to say, I think everybody should give it a fucking go.
Fucking A, dude.
What's it going to cost you? One session? $30, $40, $50? I don't know.
Of course.
It was cheaper back in the day before the big recession for me and stuff.
Just do it once. Just do it once. Man, I really need that sponsorship from BetterHelp, man. Like, BetterHelp better come in here and sponsor this fucking podcast, because we're plugging that shit, man. Like, you know. But no, genuinely, even like just Google that shit, like, in your local area, like, and as you're saying, like, the majority of the time it's very cheap, it's very accessible, it's in the community. You can just kind of show up and just talk candidly about
there's group ones if you're not comfortable doing one-on-one. There's obviously the group things like that, you know, or classes and things like, you know. So I know some people might not be as comfortable in a one-on-one session.
No, 100%. Yeah, fucking dude, man, I was expecting to talk about esports. I was expecting to talk about Street Fighter.
In a way, you know, it's all connected.
That's so awesome, man. Fucking, I mean, Spud, I don't know where to bring it now from here. Like, I feel like this is probably the perfect time to end it.
Yeah, I feel like it was a very nice note to end on.
Yeah,
Being open and honest and
absolutely.
all
Like
that, you know. I
everybody
think so.
work on their positivity, work on their own self, and
Your self-love, you know.
that's
Love
it.
yourself,
That's
number
it,
one.
man.
You can't love anyone or anything else until you love yourself first.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Like, but AceofSpuds, one of the, and we didn't even get to chat about it. One of the most fantastic 2D commentators that we have here in Europe. Like, you know, shout out Spuds, man.
I appreciate the smoke up my ass.
All right, GG's, bro.